Chapter 274. Shonan TV invited Lu Qin to participate in the Chinese music chart, organized by it. When he first learned of the news, Lu Qin thought that his studio had made a mistake, or that someone was joking with him, but both may have been quickly ruled out. After confirming the news, Lu Qin instantly came up with a proverb in his mind: the weasel pays a New Year's greeting to the chicken. His debut time is very short, but his entanglement with Shonan TV is not shallow. The faraway one is the talent show storm, and the recent one is the ratings war between Autumn in My Heart Soaring and My Heart Soaring. Earlier, Shonan TV was forced to apologize to Lu Qin because of the leak of the talent show video. Super Singer lost to Lu Qin's Singing China, which was the first slap in the face. Now, Autumn in My Heart Soaring is beating My Heart Soaring to the ground. The former's ratings are about to break through the 2% mark, while the latter has been hovering around 0.5%, and even has a downward trend. Shonan TV's so-called annual drama has almost become a joke, and the investment of My Heart Soaring is almost 10 times that of Autumn in My Heart Soaring. How can it not be disgraced? Autumn in My Heart Soaring was written, starred and invested by Lu Qin, which was another slap in the face. This time, it was much heavier than the previous time, involving huge interests. Under such circumstances, Shonan TV even invited him to participate in the Chinese music chart, and gave him 2 important nominations for Best Newcomer and Best Composer, which is a strange taste. Is Shonan TV's breadth of mind really so broad? Lu Qin scoffed at this. It should be known that Shonan TV's reputation in the circle has never been very good. And under normal circumstances, this invitation letter should be delivered a month in advance. It's only 10 days apart. Does he have no other work arrangements? In the domestic pop music industry, there were many annual awards, and the most influential ones were the 3. The first is the China Original Music Chart, jointly created by the Chinese Musicians Association, QQ Music, NetEase Music, Pop Radio and dozens of other media, which is the well-known original music chart. The celebration of the China Original Music Chart will be held in mid-March every year, and this year will be the 14th session. The second was the Asian Chinese Top Songs Chart, which was created by CCTV and CCTV in collaboration with major TV stations and radio stations in the country. The award ceremony was fixed to be held on the evening of February 18th. It had been held for 15 times so far. These 2 major music awards ceremonies had the longest history and were the most authoritative. They were the most anticipated grand ceremonies for the music industry. Ranked third was the Chinese Music Chart, which was founded in 2006 by Shonan TV, Hong Kong Satellite TV, and more than a dozen large record companies and entertainment companies. In terms of authority, the Chinese Music Chart was definitely not as good as the first 2, but Shonan TV was very good at creating hype and was rich. Every year, the Chinese Music Chart Awards ceremony was very popular and invited a lot of stars and artists to participate, so it was very famous. In addition, there were also several other awards ceremonies such as the Pop Music Chart, the Pepsi Original Music Chart, etc., but their influence was not very big and the scale was small. Even if they were not authoritative and had higher entertainment value, for most of the people in the pop music industry, it was undoubtedly a very prestigious and boastful thing to get the invitation letter of the Chinese music chart. However, Lu Qin was not one of them. He felt strange, so he called Qin Fei. Qin Fei has been in the music industry for more than 10 years. She has won all kinds of music awards, so she must be familiar with them. And even if she didn't know, she could find someone who knew the inside story to inquire. Sure enough, after listening to Lu Qin's words, the singing queen said with a smile, "You don't have to ask others. I can guess what's going on. You'd better not go. Neither of these 2 awards will fall into your hands." She told Lu Qin that the reason why the invitation letter came so late should be that Shonan TV did not include him in the award nomination at all. Later, They should be worried that the public opinion would be too controversial, so they threw out two pieces of bait. In 2015, no one could ignore the rise of Lu Qin in the domestic pop music industry. He insisted on the original route and wrote more than 20 excellent works. His debut albums sold well and all of them were on the original music chart. The results were extremely dazzling. Under such circumstances, if the Chinese music chart excludes Lu Qin, an excellent singer and songwriter, then its self-proclaimed authority will be a joke. But it was the limit to nominate him for 2 awards. Lu Qin definitely could not get it if he wanted to. Shonan TV's moral integrity had never been counted on. Moreover, they were thick-skinned and not afraid of being scolded. They also hired a large number of internet water army pushers. They were very good at controlling public opinion. The nomination was given to you. If you can't get it, it's your own problem. Shonan TV had done such a thing before. Lu Qin was not the first to be cheated, nor would he be the last. Understanding the inside story, Lu Qin said resolutely, "Then I will ignore it." What a joke. Would he send his face to be slapped by others? The water in the entertainment circle was really too deep. Chen Fei has said, "Don't ignore it completely. Otherwise, you'll be unreasonable. Let your sister go." Lu Qin could not go. If he went, he would definitely be slapped in the face. But if he ignored it, he would become a laughing stock. People with ulterior motives would accuse him of acting like a big shot. The relationship in the entertainment circle was like this. Even if they fought to the death behind the scenes, they still had to abide by the rules and etiquette on the surface. Otherwise, they would be unreasonable even if they were reasonable. Letting Lu Qi go was undoubtedly the most suitable. No matter whether she could get the award in the end, no one could say anything. Even if Shonan TV wanted to slap her face, they would not be able to do so. How could they slap her if she was not there? Moreover, Lu Qin also has a suitable reason, that is, the invitation letter of Xiangnan Satellite TV was sent too late, but the schedule was wrong. This reason was given by the latter herself. Chen Fei has said, "Remember to post on your blog that you just got the invitation letter today. You're very happy. You're very grateful to Shonan TV. Say that you're very sorry that you can't go in person because of work arrangements." Lu Qin was stunned. Then he immediately understood. He was completely convinced by this heavenly queen sister. In this way, he was firmly in the right. No matter what Shonan TV did later, it did not matter. "I'll write it now." Chen Fei smiled and said, "Don't be too anxious. By the way, someone secretly took a photo of us at the Azure Coast. It has just been posted on the blog. My studio will issue a statement. You should also follow up on it." Photo of the Azure Coast. Lu Qin hurriedly said goodbye to Chen Fei, and hurriedly logged into the Waves blog. Since it involved the Azure Coast, it must have been secretly taken when they were filming. However, he remembered that the scene was cleared at that time. He did not expect the paparazzi to be so resourceful. In just half a minute, Lu Qin saw a photo of him and Chen Fei on the official V of an entertainment website. There were stills of him carrying Chen Fei while filming, and pictures of the two holding hands after it was over. The person who secretly took the photo should have used a high-power telephoto lens to secretly take the photo. The photo was not very clear, but it was still easy to distinguish the intimate state between the two. The related blog posts were accompanied with sensational titles and content, such as Chen Fei's love and so on. The words were so convincing that it made Lu Qin feel ashamed. His own blog also exploded. Many fans left comments. "Brother Lu Qin, are you and Chen Fei really dating? My heart is broken. How can this be? I already knew that Lu Qin and Chen Fei are not simple. It's not the first time there has been a scandal. Bless them. Big Lu Chin is mighty. Don't say any more. If this is true, then I'll kill myself. I really don't know what you guys are doing. Isn't it normal for Junshi and Eunhee to be together? Please tell me the truth. Lu Chen's latest blog post was published yesterday. As a result, there were more than 100,000 comments now. Obviously, it was affected by the scandal photos. Some fans cheered and congratulated him, while some were sad and doubtful. There were also some extreme comments, which should be from a small number of crazy female fans. Although Lu Chen walked the path of strength, and no one doubted his talent, it was undeniable that Lu Chen's handsome appearance also helped him attract a large number of female fans. With more fans, it was inevitable that some would go to extremes. They would regard Lu Chen as their dream lover and spiritual pillar. Once they knew that their idol was in love or married, the consequences were often very serious. There was no lack of such examples in the past. Some idols committed suicide because of their love or marriage, which caused a great wave of public opinion. Therefore, many idols were very careful in this aspect and kept their feelings strictly confidential. It didn't matter if there was a scandal, but admitting a relationship was taboo. Many entertainment agencies even prohibited their contracted artists from dating, which was also to prevent similar incidents from happening, so as to avoid a bad impact on the public. Although Lu Chen and Chen Fei both opened their own studios, the number of fans of the two added up is an astonishing number, so they also need to take into account this issue, so they have never made their relationship public. Not only that, they had to deny the rumors. Lu Chen quickly wrote a blog post and posted it, explaining to everyone that this was a stills from the shooting of Autumn in My Heart, and that his relationship with Chen Fei had always been very good. The two of them were like siblings, so there was no need for everyone to misunderstand. In addition, he also talked about the invitation he received from Shonan TV's Chinese music chart, which quickly attracted the attention of the fans. In fact, it wasn't the first time that Lu Chen and Chen Fei had a scandal. Entertainment gossip often talked about the two of them, so everyone was a little used to it, so it was easy to dissipate the impact. Now the fans were concerned about whether Lu Chen could win the Best Newcomer and Best Composer awards. They didn't know that the truth was so cruel. Chapter 275. On February 23rd and 24th, Hygiene Satellite TV broadcast the 13th and 14th episodes of Autumn in My Heart during prime time. Under the expectations of countless Blue fans, the ratings broke through 2%. This was a remarkable result, and it was also the first urban drama since 2012 to break 2%. Therefore, it caused another sensation both inside and outside the circle. Although many people had accurate predictions in advance, when this miracle of ratings really happened, countless people were still shocked and incredulous. Heated discussions about Autumn in My Heart became a common phenomenon. The total investment of Autumn in My Heart was just over 10 million, and including the publicity costs, it would not exceed 15 million. For a medium-length drama of 20 episodes, the production cost was very low. Most of the actors in the drama were unknown newcomers, and the two main characters were not professional actors. Lu Chen and Chen Fei were both singers without much acting experience. As for the drama itself, the story belonged to Lu Chen's original, and had nothing to do with popular IP. What made people most speechless was that the plot of the drama was very cruel, completely different from the popular happy reunion of a handsome man and a beautiful woman, or a Cinderella and a domineering CEO. Although the ending had not been released, it was very likely to be a big tragedy. But such a drama was popular, and it was a complete mess. This is a pure love drama full of tears, someone wrote on a blog. Watching this drama, I have never considered the logic of love in it, because I can't understand why the two, who were brother and sister since childhood, could develop into lovers. But the music, the pictures, and the acting skills of the actors are enough to make everyone's heart melt. The story starts softly, but the accumulated sadness hits us at the climax. It is very tense, and I won't get tired of listening to it. The picture, the childhood village, and the farm after growing up, is very much like the world in a fairy tale. Whether the actors were young or grown up, they are so cute, beautiful, and handsome. In short, they are very pleasing to the eye. Whether it is the lead or the supporting role, their acting skills are excellent, and their emotional expression is very good. In today's strange and dazzling society, it is full of fast food feelings, and even the screen is full of temptation and competition, which makes people more and more confused and at a loss. Now I don't have the patience to watch a TV series from beginning to end, and I've begun to laugh at myself for watching too many brainless and superficial idle dramas. But in the process of watching Autumn in My Heart, I feel calm and sorrowful as if it had just rained, and the air is so fresh. I like this drama, and that's it. I don't expect a perfect ending, but I will definitely follow it to the end. The blogger who wrote this long blog post, Bing, has no fame. He is just a very ordinary member of Inspire blog. He is not even a V number, and has only a few dozen fans. But when her blog post was reposted, the number of fans increased by 100-fold. Many blue fans left comments expressing the same opinion as her. The popularity of Autumn in My Heart was evident. On the Waves blog, the number of fans of Autumn in My Heart had exceeded 1 million, so much so that the officials had specially opened a separate discussion section for the drama, which attracted a lot of popularity. In the face of the craze caused by Autumn in My Heart, the urban romance or idle dramas that were broadcast at the same time were greatly suppressed. Even Shonen TV's My Heart Soars suffered a crushing defeat in the collision with Autumn in My Heart, and the ratings fell to 0.35%. This made Shonen TV's hype for My Heart Soars a month ago all a joke. And the happiest and most depressed was Hygiene TV, which was broadcasting the premiere of Autumn in My Heart Soars. The ratings of Autumn in My Heart Soars had exceeded 2%, and with 6 episodes to go, the momentum would continue to rise. It was a foregone conclusion that the domestic average ratings of the entire drama would exceed 1%, and it would not be strange for it to reach 1.5% or even more. The betting agreement between the two parties was based on the average domestic ratings of 0.25%. For every 0.10% increase, the buyout price for one episode would be increased by 100,000. Calculating at 1.5%, Hygiene TV would pay 1.2 million for one episode, and 20 episodes would be a whole 24 million. On the one hand, Hygiene TV had earned a lot of advertising fees because of the popularity of Autumn in My Heart Soars, and on the other hand, they felt the pain of having to pay the extra fees. If they had known it would be like this, they would have made a profit by buying 1 million for one episode. Hygiene TV was in pain and happy at the same time, and other people or units related to Autumn in My Heart Soars, including investors, directors, actors, and so on, all enjoyed a generous meal. Chin Fei, and Lu Chen's fan circle had expanded a lot, and the number of advertisers and performers who came to their door was like a school of carps crossing the river. In particular, Lu Chen's value had risen to a level that he could not have imagined before. Before the broadcast of Autumn in My Heart Soars, 1 million was enough to hire Lu Chen to be a spokesperson for the brand for a year. Now, Lu Shi's offer to the public was at least 5 million, and if it was less than that, there was no need to speak. As for people looking for Lu Chen to cooperate, to act in movies and TV series, and even to publish books, there was an endless stream of people. As for these bustling troubles, Lu Chen let Lu Shi deal with them all, and he stayed in Jinling to complete all the dubbing and music for the last few episodes of Autumn in My Heart Soars. On January 30th, The day that the 15th episode of Autumn in My Heart Soars was broadcasted, the famous ID Stray Cats posted a post on the entertainment section of the Sky Forum, one of the largest BBS forums in China, which received the attention of a large number of netizens. The title of this post was very interesting. It was called, Crazy, Domineering, and Super Handsome. There was not a single word in the post, and Stray Cats only posted a carefully edited high-definition GIF video. In this short 30-second video, the main character was Lu Qin. He was wearing a black armor, riding a fine horse, holding a bright silver spear, and charging towards the Han Nu army. He was like a tiger, and his horse was like a dragon, showing everyone a character that was completely different from the image in Autumn in My Heart Soars. This video was very well shot, and the close-up and angle shift were used perfectly showing the momentum and bravery of a valiant general. It made people's blood boil uncontrollably, and it was very much like a scene from a blockbuster movie. The ID Stray Cats was very famous in the entertainment section of the Sky Forum. His identity was quite mysterious, and no one knew whether he was a man or a woman, or what his occupation was. In the entertainment section, he would expose big and small news in the entertainment industry. For example, a certain celebrity had cheated, a certain idol scolded his fans, a certain big shot was gay. In fact, many people knew that Stray Cats should be a pushing force on the internet, but his posts have a common feature, that is, they have substance, and the information is often genuine, and there are very few groundless or fictitious facts. Therefore, they are regarded as the guiding light of the entertainment section by forum netizens, and the number of clicks and comments is often very high. At the beginning, Stray Cats once pushed Lu Qin, and also slapped several judges of Shonen TV and Singing China in the face, which caused a sensation on the internet and caused a considerable impact. This video post was also related to Lu Qin, and attracted a large number of replies in just a few minutes. What the? It's really awesome. Is this a stunt? It feels like he didn't use a stunt double. He's very handsome. This one looks a little familiar. Haha, you don't even know Lu Qin. The original talent of the Prince of Folk Songs, the male lead of Autumn in My Heart Soars. Professionals said that he didn't use a stunt double or add a stunt double in these scenes. It's a real skill. I just said 3 words, too handsome. Hype, it should be hype, but who can tell me what Lu Qin is shooting? Yeah, it's almost the new year, and I haven't heard of him starting a new play. It should be an advertisement, right? Or a music video. Of the people who commented on the post, 9 out of 10 were praising and amazed. Everyone has seen historical dramas, and there are many famous actors who have played generals, but the young general played by Lu Qin gave everyone the feeling as the title of Stray Cats' post, crazy, domineering, strong and handsome. The video was quickly moved to a blog, and Stray Cats also posted the same blog post on his personal blog. As a result, the video spread on the internet like a virus, and even appeared in many QQ groups, attracting the curiosity of countless netizens, making a cool, domineering, strong handsome explode the sky quickly appear on the hot list of the blog homepage. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that this is marketing hype, but more people who don't know the truth are looking for answers. What kind of film is Lu Qin shooting? What kind of film are you shooting? When he received a call from Qin Fei, Lu Qin had just seen the short video that was being forwarded everywhere on the blog. He smiled bitterly and said, "It's the great Han Wu Di that I guest starred in." The movie that you guest starred in. Qin Fei knew that Lu Qin guest starred in a movie in Jinling, and suddenly realized, then it's official leak, why are all your scenes? Official leak of a film that is being filmed is a common means of hype. Lu Qin touched his nose, I want to know too. Most of the footage he shot was in this half-a-minute-long video. Qin Fei smiled, it should be because you are popular now, that 200,000 yuan is so worth it. Lu Qin smiled, yeah. He had a guest role in The Great Han Wu Di, and used half a day to satisfy his craving for acting, and at the same time, made a fortune. He thought he had taken advantage of it, but he didn't expect others to be so smart. The scene that Lu Qin shot had nothing to do with the whole movie, because the main character was Emperor Han Wu, and even the cavalry general Hu Zubing was only a supporting character. However, the crew of The Great Han Wu Di was very creative, and they actually created this short video to hype up the movie, which was very clever. Of course, Lu Qin would not say that he felt he had taken advantage of it, because it was also a positive promotion for himself. Because of this video, the comments section of Lu Qin's blog was once again flooded with comments. Chapter 276. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was February 2016. Because February 7th was New Year's Eve, the atmosphere of the new year was getting stronger and stronger. Schools had already started their winter vacation, and enterprises, institutions, and companies had also entered the rhythm of the new year. All kinds of photos showing the year-end bonus flooded the circle of friends. On February 1st, Lu Qin returned to Beijing. The first big thing after returning to Beijing was that he invited all his colleagues in the studio to have a New Year's Eve dinner. Lu Qin discussed with Lu Shi that February 2nd was an official holiday. Because the employees of the studio were not locals in Beijing, they basically had to go home for the new year. They wanted to have an early holiday to avoid being too crowded on the way back. Therefore, the New Year's Eve dinner was on the evening of the 1st, and the location was the Regent Hotel in Beijing. It has only been half a year since Lu Qin's studio was established. Because it mainly revolves around Lu Qin's service and does not involve other business, the number of employees has not increased much, and has always maintained the original few people. Li Feiyu, Chen Xian, Chen Xiang, Chen Xiaomei. It was just 2 or 3 small kittens. In addition, there was Chen Jinhao, who had been holding the title of honorary consultant of the studio. Although Lu Qin wanted Sister Na to come and join in the fun, unfortunately, because Sister Na was pregnant and had some health problems, she was currently recuperating at home, so he could only let Chen Jinhao represent her. All 7 of them sat down in a small private room. The small studio did not hold an annual party or a lucky draw, but before the meal, Lu Qin sent the big red envelope of the year-end bonus to everyone, even his sister Lu Shi. Although Lu Qin's studio was small and established for a short time, its ability to attract money was quite strong. It was estimated that the investment in shooting Autumn in My Heart could eventually bring more than 15 million in profit. Therefore, the red envelope prepared by Lu Qin was very thick, which made everyone smile. After the red envelope was given, they started to eat. The small number of people did not affect the lively atmosphere. Chen Jinhao sat next to Lu Qin. After they had a toast, he asked, "Are you going to Shaoqing tomorrow to attend the Shonan TV Music Chart Award ceremony?" Chen Jinhao didn't use his blog, so he didn't know what Lu Qin was planning. Lu Qin smiled and said, "I'm not going. I'll let my sister join in the fun." Chen Jinhao was stunned for a moment before he smiled. "I was worried that you would be scammed. Shonan TV isn't a good company." He was originally in the industry, so he knew this trick very well. Ding ling ling. While they were talking and laughing, Lu Chen's phone suddenly rang. He took it out and glanced at it. He was a little surprised. Lu Shi, who was sitting on the other side, noticed his expression and asked, "What's wrong?" Lu Qin shook his head and said, "Nothing. I'll take a call." It was a little noisy in the box, so he went out to the corridor outside and answered the phone. "Hello, Sister Wang Jing." It was Wang Jing from Nirvana Studios who called Lu Qin. Lu Chen's earliest You Who Sat Next to Me album was in cooperation with Nirvana Studios. The arrangement and soundtrack were completed by this Jingyin graduate, and the standard was quite high. Later, Lu Qin also cooperated with Nirvana Studios several times, but the equipment and staffing of Nirvana Studios were still a little poor, so he gradually transferred his business to Flying Stone Records. Compared with Nirvana Studios, Flying Stone Records was completely crushed, and Lu Qin was not short of that production fee. Therefore, he and Wang Jing haven't been in touch for a while. However, Lu Qin has always appreciated Wang Jing's professionalism and work attitude. He felt that it was a pity that she was holed up in her own Nirvana Studios, which limited her ability to play and improve. But he didn't know why she suddenly called him. Wang Jing's voice on the phone sounded a little anxious. Lu Qin, I'm really sorry to bother you. I've encountered something here. Can you lend me some money? I'll find a way to return it to you as soon as possible. Lu Qin replied without hesitation, no problem. How much do you need? Lu Qin didn't know Wang Jing for a day or two. When they made the album, You Who Sat Next to Me, the two worked together in Nirvana Studios for a long time. Lu Qin learned a lot of music arrangement knowledge from her. Therefore, Lu Qin has a good understanding of Wang Jing's character. The other party is a very self-respecting girl. If she wasn't at the end of her rope, she would never ask him to borrow money. Just like himself. Therefore, Lu Qin agreed without hesitation. His straightforwardness was obviously beyond Wang Jing's expectation. After a while, the latter said, "Thank you. I want to ask you to borrow 100,000, no, 50,000 is fine." Lu Qin said with a smile, 100,000 is fine. Give me your Fubao account number, and I'll transfer it to you now. Wang Jing said, thank you. Her voice was a little choked up. Lu Qin said, you're welcome. We're friends. Manager Wang is also a good person. If you have any difficulties, just tell me. I will definitely help if I can. Who hasn't encountered trouble? Lu Qin knew that the operation of Nirvana Studios was not very good. At the beginning, Wang Changxing took out all his savings and borrowed a lot of money to buy a full set of equipment to support his son and daughter's career. But because of the fierce competition in the industry, it had been barely maintained. In order to attract business, he ran to other people's companies and waited for rabbits. Lu Qin was the rabbit that he ran into. The album, You Who Sat Next to Me, was a big seller, which brought some business to Nirvana Studios. But now Wang Jing was in a hurry to borrow money from Lu Qin. She must have encountered some trouble. Cash flow problems, creditors pressing for repayment. These were all possible, but Lu Qin wouldn't ask. If Wang Jing wanted to say it, she would say it. If she didn't want to say it, why ask? After ending the call with Wang Jing, Lu Qin returned to the box and sent a text message. Lu Qin looked at it and confirmed that it was Wang Jing's account name. He forwarded it to Lu Shi, sister, transfer 100,000 yuan to this Yifubao account now. The studio's funds were in the hands of Lu Shi, and Lu Chen's account only had some pocket money. Okay. Lu Shi agreed, but when she saw the account number, she couldn't help but look a little strange. Wang Jing, the girl from Nirvana Studios. Lu Shi had been to Nirvana Studios once and knew Wang Changxing's family. Of course, she had also seen Wang Jing. Lu Qin nodded, yes. Lu Shi asked, what happened? Why did you transfer money to her? Originally, Lu Shi didn't intend to ask, because the current Lu Qin was not the troublesome person he used to be. But when she saw that the person who transferred the money was Wang Jing, her sister couldn't help but have some other thoughts, so she asked a few more questions. Lu Qin explained, she borrowed money from me. Maybe she encountered some trouble. Lu Shi rolled her eyes. I remember that Wang Jing is very beautiful. The implication was that Lu Qin borrowed money because he saw that other people were beautiful. Was his old problem acting up again? Lu Qin used to be very popular with girls. Although he didn't do anything like stepping on end boats, when he was in college, others criticized him a lot, which led to Lucy at that time to dislike him very much. In fact, most of those criticisms were slander from jealous people. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Sister," Lu Shi said with a smile, "well, you don't need to explain. I'm joking with you." She unlocked her Ifu account with her fingerprint and transferred 100,000 yuan to Wang Jing's account quickly. After a few minutes, Wang Jing replied to Lu Chen, "The money has been received." "Thank you." Lu Chen didn't reply. He quickly put this matter to the back of his mind. The second day after the New Year's Eve dinner, that is, February 2nd, Lu Shi flew to Shaoqing with Chen Axin. She was going to attend the Chinese Music Chart Awards ceremony held by Shonan TV at the Xiangjiang Grand Theater that night as a guest of Lu Chen. The awards ceremony began at 18:00 with a red carpet ceremony, which was broadcast live by Shonan TV. Since the end of the 1990s, the reform in China had been intensified. In the spirit of letting 100 flowers bloom, the state administration of radio, film and television had relaxed the policy constraints on local satellite TV stations. Without the band-tightening curse on their heads, local satellite TV stations began to show their magic power and began to run on the road of marketization and commercialization. Therefore, Shonan TV suddenly rose to prominence. Up to now, relying on the two magic weapons of variety shows and self-made dramas, Xiangnan Satellite TV has been firmly occupying the throne of local satellite TV stations, and the annual advertising income has made its peers envious and jealous. It can really be described as rich and imposing. This year's Chinese Music Chart Awards ceremony was extraordinarily grand. A red carpet as long as 100 meters was spread from the entrance of the Xiangjiang Grand Theater to the intersection of the square. High-power lighting poles were erected around it, illuminating the whole scene. The barriers were all covered with colorful advertisements. A large number of media reporters rushed to the scene. As for the people who came to see the fun, there was a sea of people. The armed police officers were maintaining order, and there were even helicopters flying in the sky. At the entrance of the Xiangjiang Grand Theater stood a golden Roman-style arch, and the signature wall was extended. Dozens of young girls were standing there with flowers in their hands, welcoming the guests from all over the country. With such a big battle, Shonan TV naturally invited a very luxurious lineup of stars, including hundreds of stars from both sides of the Taiwan Strait and 3 places. There were as many as 4 or 5 big names in China. Shonan TV was using this method to prove to the world that it was still the leader of the local satellite TV stations, the overlord of the variety world, and an indispensable existence in the entertainment industry. A brand new Mercedes-Benz drove over from the road that had been blocked and steadily stopped at the beginning of the red carpet. One after another, stars appeared on the stage, attracting countless flashes of light and screams from fans. Li Xing, Tan Hong, Lu Zhonghan, Chen Fei, Liao Jia. One by one, the fluorescent signs were raised high, and familiar names were called out one after another. It was really a dazzling scene. Chapter 277. The Chinese music chart was founded by Shonan TV and Xiangjiang Satellite TV in 2006. As one of the 3 grand ceremonies of the pop music world, the Chinese music chart had 27 awards in total, including the Best Album of the Year, the Best Male Singer, the Best Female Singer, the Most Popular Male Singer, the Most Popular Female Singer, the Best Single, the Best Newcomer, the Best Composer, the Best Lyricist, and the Best Producer. The award party was held in the Xiangjiang Grand Theater and was broadcast live by Shonan TV and Xiangjiang Satellite TV. The Xiangjiang Grand Theater was one of the largest opera houses in China, which could accommodate 2,000 spectators. It mainly staged operas, dances, and large-scale cultural performances. It was a representative building of Shaoqing culture and art. Under the careful arrangement of Shonan TV, the Grand Theater showed a very modern atmosphere. The large screen wall behind the stage was matched with excellent sound and light effects, creating a magnificent scene of a bustling ceremony. The four hosts who hosted the award party were Shonan TV and Xiangjiang Satellite TV. Xia Yu and Fang Chen from Shonan TV were famous variety hosts in China. The party opened with a grand song and dance, and the famous singer Shang Fangfang sang the most beautiful song. After the song was finished, the audience burst into thunderous applause, and the award ceremony officially began. The Chinese music charts award method was very interesting. The award winners were jointly selected by the expert jury and the audience jury. The former had 12 members, and the latter had 100 so-called audience representatives. And these 100 audience representatives were chosen from thousands of ordinary audience members. Since the traditional way of audience voting was abandoned, Shonan TV strongly advocated the fairness and impartiality of the Chinese music chart, claiming that it was inspired by the U.S. presidential election and eliminated the possibility of vote rigging. People in the industry scoffed at Shonan TV's boasting. However, the former was willing to spend money and could invite a large number of stars and artists, so the Chinese music chart's ratings had always been high. The money that Shonan TV spent was doubled through the sky-high title sponsorship and advertising. As for the fairness and impartiality, it was actually just for ordinary people. According to the usual practice, the first to be announced were the small awards, such as the Media Recommendation Award, the Annual Contribution Award, the Best Music Video, and so on. Soon, one award after another was announced, pushing the atmosphere of the awards ceremony to a climax. Among the 27 awards, Lu Chen was nominated for Best Newcomer and Best Composer. In terms of the weight of the award, the Best Composition Award was much higher than the Best Newcomer Award and was on par with the Most Popular Male/Female Singer Award. Therefore, the first award related to Lu Chen was the Best Newcomer of the Year award. Next, we will announce the Best Newcomer Award on the Chinese music chart. Shonan TV host Xia Yu said into the microphone, "Let's take a look at the list of nominees first." They are, on the big screen behind her. The list of 4 candidates instantly appeared. Lu Chen, Cui Jingji, Zhou Bei, and Wang Guangming. All 4 of them are newcomers who have debuted in the last 2 years. Cui Jingji was the runner-up of Shonan TV's Super Male Voice in 2014. He signed with the company Qingtian Entertainment and published his debut album, Provocation, in 2015. The criterion for the Best Newcomer Award is to debut within 3 years and to have released an album. Zhou Bei was the winner of the 2015 Deep Sea Satellite TV's Ace variety show, National Idol. After signing with Starlight Media, she released her debut album, Blooming Flower. Interestingly, in addition to Wang Guangming, Lu Chen, Cui Jingji, and Zhou Bei released their debut albums only a few days apart. At that time, they battled fiercely on QQ Music, and in the end, Lu Chen's You Who Sat Next to Me won. The 4 newcomers were all quite eye-catching in the pop music world in 2015. Now, let's invite Mr. Lu Zhonghan to reveal the winner of the Best Newcomer and award the award at the same time. Lu Zhonghan, dressed in a well-ironed suit, walked onto the stage amidst applause. Lu Zhonghan is a famous singer in Hong Kong, but in recent years, he has been developing in China and has released many albums. He faced the microphone, took out the envelope with the winner's name from his pocket and opened it. The Best Newcomer of the Year on the Chinese music chart was about to be announced. At this moment, the audience sitting in front of the TV and computer watching the award ceremony was in high spirits. In Lu Chen's live broadcast room on Whale TV, countless Lu Chen fans were also waiting for the answer to be revealed. Most of them firmly believe that the best newcomer is Lu Chen. The reason is very simple. In the pop music world in 2015, there is no better newcomer than Lu Chen. He won the championship of Singing China, published his first platinum album, You Who Sat Next to Me, wrote songs for the Bionics, produced albums for MSN, and wrote for Chen Fei, who could match up to all of his deeds and achievements. Cui Jingji. The next moment, Lu Zhonghan said the winner of the Best Newcomer Award, "Congratulations, Cui Jingji." Cui Jingji, who was sitting on the right side of the third row of the auditorium, immediately stood up and hugged the people around him with a smile on his face. A beam of spotlight fell on him and followed his footsteps to the stage. However, when the 2,000 audience and guests at the scene heard the name, they did not applaud warmly as they did when the winner was announced. Instead, there was an uproar and discussion, mixed with a small number of sporadic applause. The news that Lu Qin was nominated for the Best Newcomer and Best Composer in the Chinese music chart has long been spread in the circle, and people who know naturally know it. Many people in the industry believe that Lu Qin will probably win the Best Newcomer and miss the Best Composer, because the latter has a lot of weight and is very particular about qualifications. It is not a big prize that can be easily won by a newcomer. Lu Qin is too young. He has achievements, but not enough qualifications. However, no one expected that the Best Newcomer award, which he is most likely to win, will fall on Cui Jingji. Compared with Lu Qin's dazzling achievements in 2015, Cui Jingji is really too poor. His debut album was defeated by Lu Qin, and there are not many works on the domestic heavyweight list. It is nothing more than a lot of hype and frequent announcements. It is a little incredible that Lu Qin will lose to Cui Jingji. Only those who know the inside story know that this is the usual habit of Shonan TV. They nominated Lu Qin for these two awards, nothing more than to slap him in the face. Lu Qin has offended Shonan TV a lot. As the saying goes, everyone has a scale in their heart. Shonan TV's obvious award manipulation inevitably makes people feel disgusted. Even if it is impossible for people to raise objections, how can they applaud Cui Jingji enthusiastically? There are also people who applaud. In addition to the staff of Shonan TV and the audience support, there are some other people. Chen Fei is one of them. The Heavenly Queen is sitting in the middle of the second row of the auditorium, with a faint smile on her face and gently clapping. She is very reserved. One after another, as if she is slapping someone's face. Chapter 278. The winner of the 2015 Chinese Music Chart's Best Newcomer of the Year award is Cui Jingji. Congratulations, Cui Jingji. When Lu Zonghan revealed the answer to the riddle, Will TV, Lu Qin's live broadcast room suddenly exploded. Countless fans watching the live broadcast in front of the computer couldn't believe what had just happened. It felt as if they had been hit hard in the head with a stick. Many people were stunned. What the? How could it be Cui Jingji? Is there a mistake? It's too dark. It's a joke. Who can be big and stronger than Lu Qin as the best newcomer? Who can tell me who Cui Jingji is? I've never heard of him. What songs did he sing? Oh, Shonan TV is like this. I've expected it. I won't watch Shonan TV in the future. It's too annoying. Let's go. It's boring. Not only in the live broadcast room, but also in blogs, forums, and QQ groups, Lu Qin's fans are complaining. Previously, it was widely believed that the Best Newcomer of the Year award was the first music award that Lu Qin was most likely to win. They optimistically believed that he could complete a double win and win the Best Composition award. There are even many fans who express dissatisfaction with Lu Qin's only 2 nominations. As a result, he didn't even win the Most Confident award. How can he not be angry? At this moment, in the Xiangjiang Grand Theater, Cui Jingji took the Crystal Award from Lu Zonghan on stage. It's just that the annual Newcomer King's expression was more or less embarrassed, because the reaction of the audience was a bit face-slapping, which made this gilded honor lose a lot of luster. He held the award and said into the microphone, "Thank you Shonan TV, thank you Xiangjiang Satellite TV." The thank you speech was dry, without much passion and excitement. The reaction of the audience at the scene was finally a little enthusiastic. After Cui Jingji finished speaking, They also gave him a lot of applause, so that he would not be embarrassed to the point of being unable to get off the stage. After all, everyone was disgusted with Shonan TV's actions, and they didn't have much of an opinion about Cui Jingji. But in fact, Cui Jingji knew that he would win this award. The agency he signed with had a close relationship with Shonan TV. It would be a joke to say that he was kept in the dark beforehand. Cui Jingji hurried off the stage. Fang Chen, the host of Shonan TV, immediately began to announce the nominees for the next award. It was better to quickly get over this awkward moment. Then, Lu Chen also lost the Best Composition Award, which was won by the famous musician Tan Hu. Tan Hu is a first-class songwriter in the domestic pop music industry. He has created hundreds of songs, including emotional, folk, blues, and even theme songs. There is no lack of classics that have been sung all over the country. He enjoys a high reputation in the circle. If Tan Hu and Lu Chen were compared separately, Lu Chen was definitely not as good as Tan Hu in terms of the number of works, qualifications, and status in the circle. But when Tan Hu received the Best Composition Award from the hands of the guest presenter Tan Hong, he said, "I'm very happy to win this award here tonight. I'm deeply honored and frightened by the Chinese music chart's love. But I'm also very ashamed because I didn't create a commendable work in 2015. Compared with the other candidates, I really failed to live up to their love." The Xiangjiang Grand Theater, which could accommodate 2,000 audiences, became very quiet. Everyone was quietly listening to the sincere voice of the middle-aged man with a lot of white hair. "I've been engaged in music creation for more than 20 years. I've won all the awards and honors that I deserve, so I hope that the seniors in our industry can use more strength to support and encourage the newcomers, because they are the hope of Chinese original music. That's all I have to say. Thank you again." Thank you, Shonan TV and Hong Kong Satellite TV. After that, Tan Hu bowed deeply to everyone. As soon as his voice fell, the audience burst into thunderous applause, and many people even stood up to applaud. Among them was Lu Shi. Lu Shi attended the award party as Lu Chen's representative. She was not surprised by the result at all, because she had expected it. She had no illusions about the moral integrity of Shonan TV. However, Lu Shi did not expect that there were so many people in this circle who were willing to support Lu Chen. Although their support was very implicit, it should be known that Lu Chen had only been in the industry for more than half a year, and his contacts in the circle were still in the initial stage. Many people did not even know him. For example, Tan Hu. Anyone could tell that Tan Hu was implicitly expressing his dissatisfaction with Shonan TV. He was dissatisfied with the latter's deliberate suppression of newcomers like Lu Chen. His criticism was not fierce, nor was it a storm-like attack, but it was also powerful. Lu Chen's work that was selected for the best composition was "You Who Sat Next to Me," but in the circle, it was generally believed that Lu Chen's best work was "In the Spring" or "I Love You China." These two works were very popular and could be called classics. Even if it was "You Who Sat Next to Me," Tan Hu's award-winning work, "Pencil Roll," paled in comparison. Tan Hu himself did not deny this, and he was not really happy about winning the award. Strictly speaking, Shonan TV was suspected of using him as a weapon. Tan Hu really didn't care about the Best Composition Award. He had never met Lu Chen, but he appreciated the latter very much. After the Best Composition Award, it was the heavyweight Best Album, Most Popular Male and Female Singer, Best Male and Female Singer, and so on. However, as the awards were announced, it gave people the feeling that it was the end after the climax. Even if the four hosts tried their best to adjust the atmosphere, it was still tepid. That night, Chen Fei won the Most Popular Female Singer award. She went on stage and said a few words. On the second day after the end of the 2015 Chinese Music Chart Award ceremony, many entertainment media published the winners' list and comments. Among them, Lu Chen's failure to be selected as the best newcomer was the loudest voice of doubt. On the internet, such voices were magnified at least 10 times. Many Lu Chen's fans went to Shonan TV's official blog and Taobao forum to mock and criticize the latter. As a result, it triggered a war of words with the internet water army of Shonan TV. On Immerse blog, some people ridiculed Xiangnan Satellite TV for lifting a stone and smashing its own foot, and its table manners were too ugly. As the center of public opinion, Lu Chen remained calm. He expressed regret that he had lost 2 awards and did not comment on the practice of Xiangnan Satellite TV, which disappointed many guys who wanted to watch the fun. Xiangnan Satellite TV, because Lu Chen didn't need to care about the Chinese Music Chart Awards. He had already received the invitation of the Asian Chinese Music Chart and was nominated for 4 awards. Chapter 279. The Asian Chinese Music Chart was created by CCTV and CCTV in conjunction with major TV stations and radio stations. The award ceremony was fixed to be held on the evening of February 18th. It had been held for the 15th time so far. It was one of the oldest and most authoritative music awards in China. It had a certain influence in Asia and was regarded as the annual music festival by domestic musicians. The award was more valuable than the Chinese Music Chart. The panel of judges for the Asian Chinese Music Chart was made up of professionals, including members of the Music Association, well-known seniors in the circle, professors of music academies, famous music critics, etc. The judging criteria also referred to the on-demand data and network data of major domestic radio stations. Similarly, there was no audience voting for the Asian Chinese Top Songs chart. That was because in the early years, there was audience voting. In the end, there were all kinds of vote rigging and cheating every year, which made people dumbfounded. That made the grand award ceremony almost become a place for vote rigging. So later, the organizers simply cancelled it and replaced it with a strong panel of judges. As early as January, Lu Chen received an invitation letter from the organizing committee of the Asian Chinese Music Chart award ceremony. He was nominated for Best Newcomer, Best Composition, Best Lyrics, and Best Album. Although the Asian Chinese Music Chart covered a wider range, there were only 21 awards. There were no categories like most popular male and female singers, which were more like pork, which increased the value of the award. The Asian Chinese Music Chart had been held for the 15th time, and no singer had won the title of Best Singer. It was said that this year's Asian Chinese Top Songs chart was likely to be the last one. The Asian Chinese Top Songs chart would be merged with the Chinese Original Music Chart and upgraded to the Global Chinese Original Songs chart, which would be held on December 31st every year. The source of this news was very reliable. The Chinese Original Music Chart was stopped for the first time this year. It was undoubtedly paving the way for the merger of the 2 awards. At that time, the Global Chinese Original Songs chart would become the most authoritative music award in China, sweeping away all the bad actors. Because of this, the Chinese Music Chart was quickly forgotten. The industry's expectation for the Asian Chinese Music Chart increased big, and it became the hot topic of the domestic pop music industry at the end of the year. But for most people, the Chinese Music Chart had nothing to do with them. What they cared about was the Spring Festival. They wanted to use all means of transportation to return home and have a reunion with their families. Countless people were leaving the capital. This super metropolis with a population of 30 million was about to become an empty city. Lu Chen drove the newly purchased Mercedes-Benz SUV all the way to the New Era Art Park. His original Zhonghua X7 was given to Lu Shi. Originally, Lu Chen wanted to buy a new car for his sister, but his sister took the X7 and bought him this million-yuan G900. She said that now that his identity is different, driving the X7 is too degrading and will make others look down on him. In fact, Lu Chen is not vain. Although the Zhonghua X7 is a domestic car, it is still very comfortable to drive. However, he couldn't resist his sister's insistence and finally had a luxury. It was normal for young people to want to maintain their reputation. If it was the Lu Chen of the past, he would definitely buy a sports car and drive his girlfriend here to satisfy his cravings after making so much money. But after experiencing 3 periods of life in his dream, his mentality is far more mature and wise than his peers. While pursuing personal career success, his admiration for vanity has faded a lot. Therefore, Lu Chen can calmly look at the defeat of the Chinese music chart. No one can take away what belongs to him. Why should he insist on what doesn't belong to him? What's more, he already has the wealth of a world. After parking the car in the parking lot, Lu Chen walked to Star Fate Art Training Hall. Star Fate Art Training Hall was very famous in Beijing's entertainment industry. It was first established by a joint venture of several entertainment agencies. It was specifically used to train new artists, also known as trainees. The domestic trainee system originated from South Korea. Many large entertainment agencies have their own independent trainee training system, which provides a large number of talents for the entire industry. But this system can't be established casually. It requires a lot of manpower and material resources. Small and medium-sized companies or studios can't afford it at all, so special training institutions have emerged. Star Fate Art Training Hall is one of them, and it is one of the strongest institutions in the industry. It doesn't sign any new trainee artists. It only accepts commission training or image customization. The Star Fate Art Gallery, which was built in the New Era Art Park, was the best in the country, both in terms of facilities and teachers. Many of the music and dance teachers were hired from abroad. After years of development, an extremely perfect training system had been formed. Star Fate Art Training Hall has a completely independent structure, separated from the relationship with the founding company. Therefore, many entertainment agencies, record companies, and film companies in the capital put their signed newcomers here for training. Although many people in the industry criticize that the artists trained by institutions like Star Fate Art Training Hall are like the products of the fashion line, lacking individuality and characteristics. But even the critics can't deny that the new artists trained by such a centralized and professional training system have quite solid basic skills. Moreover, trainee training is also divided into high and low levels. You get what you pay for. The most important thing is that for most entertainment agencies, outsourcing training undoubtedly reduces the cost and saves a lot of time. As for the style and characteristics, they can package it again after they have a foundation. Sisterly. When Lu Chen appeared in front of Star Fate Art Training Hall, he immediately saw Li Jinjin standing at the door. He quickly took off his sunglasses and waved to greet her. Xiao Lu. Sisterly immediately revealed a surprised expression. She grinned and greeted him, "Thank you for your hard work." She walked so fast that even the little assistant beside her couldn't keep up with her. Lu Chen smiled and said, "It's nothing. I come here often." The first time he came to Star Fate Art Training Hall was at Li Jinjin's invitation to see the training of the newly formed Little Tiger Group. According to Sisterly, he was here to give some guidance. After filming Autumn in My Heart, Sisterly had already made up her mind to let her beloved son walk on the path of an artist. She regarded the plan of the youth group proposed by Lu Chen as a treasure. After returning to the capital, Sisterly quickly formed a team for the Little Tiger Group. With Little Handsome Tiger, Zhang Juanji as the core, they were sent to Star Fate Art Training Hall for singing and dancing training. According to the plan, the Little Tiger Group will be trained here for half a year before making their debut and releasing their first album. Chapter 280. Star Fate Art Gallery had many training rooms. The rooms were separated by translucent tempered glass. Walking along the long corridor, one could see that all the training rooms were filled with people practicing dance or body movements. One could even faintly hear the accompaniment of music. It was almost Chinese New Year. Many people were about to leave Beijing and return to their hometown. However, the trainees were not among them. They had to seize the time to train and strive for a chance to debut. They could not afford to slack off. The competition in the entertainment industry was always fierce. In today's era, the replacement of new talents was very fast. If one did not make a name for himself after 2 or 3 years, he or she would basically face elimination. Among the hundreds of trainees in Star Fate Art Gallery today, only a few would become famous in the future. Ordinary people saw the glamorous celebrities, but they did not know how many competitors they were stepping on. Fate was always unfair. Although they were all trainees, some had a higher starting point than others. For example, the newly formed Little Tiger Group not long ago. Zhang Juanji and his 2 friends not only had their own luxurious training rooms, but they also had 2 dance teachers. When Lu Chen and Sister Li came in, the 3 teenagers had just finished a dance. Their foreheads were covered in sweat and they were panting, looking very tired. However, one of the dance teachers was very dissatisfied. He scolded them in an unusually strict tone, pointing out the problems and shortcomings of their movements. He even used a bamboo ruler to whip the arms and legs of the 3, including Zhang Juanji. From the stiff Mandarin of this dance teacher, it was obvious that he was a foreign teacher hired by Star Fate Art Gallery. Star Fate Art Gallery hired more than 10 foreign teachers. It was said that they were all professional teachers from Japan and Korea with rich training experience. This person was undoubtedly one of them. Lu Chen and Sister Li did not rashly go in and disturb him. Sister Li must be very worried about her son. However, she did not interfere at this time. She stood at the door motionlessly, not saying a word even though her eyes were red. This was because Sister Li deeply understood the principle that only those who experienced hardship could rise to the top. Although she had the ability to shield Zhang Juanji from wind and rain, since Zhang Juanji had stepped into this circle, he still had to walk his own path. Just like a young eagle leaving its nest, how could it spread its wings and soar above the blue sky without the baptism of wind and rain? So what if he was scolded and beaten? Which trainee didn't go through this? Being serious was spoiling, but it was the greatest harm. After being reprimanded by the teacher, the 3 youths regained their spirits. Dragging their exhausted bodies, they redid the dance with the accompaniment music. This time, the 2 teachers were finally satisfied. After a few words of encouragement, they allowed them to rest for a few minutes. The 3 youths slumped to the ground. Only then did Sister Li push open the door and enter. She greeted the 2 teachers first. "Hello, Teacher Jean." "Hello, Teacher Min." Sister Li had been in the entertainment industry for many years. She had built her career from scratch. Her status in the industry was far above that of the 2 dance teachers. Even so, they were still polite and courteous to her. Of course, the 2 teachers were not arrogant people. They hurriedly bowed in return. "Hello, Ms. Li." Sister Li smiled and said, "Let me introduce you. This is Teacher Lu Chen." She introduced them to each other. "Lu Chen, this is Teacher Kim Onghua from Korea's Can Management Company." The other teacher, Teacher Min, was from Hong Kong. Kim Onghua was in his 40s. He was tall and thin, and his expression was cold. His eyes were long and narrow, giving people a very strict feeling. However, when Sister Li introduced Lu Chen, he was shocked. He stepped forward and bowed to Lu Chen. He stretched out his hands and said, "Mr. Lu Chen, I've heard a lot about you." Although his accent was a little awkward, the words, "I've heard a lot about you," were spoken clearly and with a good accent. Lu Chen shook hands with him with both hands and said with a smile, "Mr. Kim, you're too polite." He thought that Kim Onghua was just being polite and thought that Kim Onghua knew how to socialize. However, he didn't expect Kim Onghua to say very seriously, "You're welcome. I've heard all of your works, Mr. Lu Chen. I've also watched the TV series you starred in, Romance in My Heart. You're a very talented singer, composer, and actor. After a pause, Kim Ongwa continued, if you were in South Korea, you would definitely become a great artist, just like Han Haomin and Kim Song-hyun. Han Haomin and Kim Song-hyun were both famous artists in South Korea. They were regarded as national idols and had a high influence throughout Asia. They were also stars in film, television, and music. Kim Ongwa compared Lu Chen to Han Haomin and Kim Song-hyun, which was undoubtedly of very high praise. Lu Chen was a little surprised and said modestly, Mr. Kim, you flatter me. Kim Ongwa said, Mr. Lu Chen, you're here to see the training of the little tigers, right? I'll ask them to perform the song you wrote for you now. He turned to the three teenagers and said in a deep voice, please show your best. Although Zhang Juanji and the other two were exhausted, they all stood up obediently when they saw Lu Chen and Sister Li. They didn't dare to interrupt. Hearing Kim Ongwa's order, the three of them gritted their teeth and stepped back to put some distance between them. They quickly got into formation. Lu Chen wanted to ask them to take a break first, but he swallowed his words. It wouldn't hurt to let a young man like Zhang Juanji suffer a little more. Teacher Min ran to the sound equipment and played the accompaniment that the little tigers needed. A smooth and light melody instantly sounded in the training room. It was Butterfly Flight. This song was written by Lu Chen specifically for the Little Tigers, and it would also be the title song of the Little Tigers' first album. The style of the Little Tiger group was based on this song, Butterflies Fly. Therefore, after Lu Chen gave the music score to Sister Li invited a famous composer in Beijing to arrange the music, and then sent it to Star Fate Art Museum to choreograph the dance. Zhang Juanji and the other two had practiced it many times. They walked to the music. Although the movements weren't difficult, they were full of the youthful energy of teenagers. As they danced, the three of them sang at the same time. They looked very good. What made Lu Chen happy was that the performance of the three teenagers gradually overlapped with the original version of the Little Tigers in his memory from the dream world. At this time, no one noticed that many trainees had appeared at the entrance of the training room. Both men and women peered inside, most of them with envy or curiosity. Chapter 281. After the performance of Butterfly Flight, the three teenagers were so tired that they were about to collapse. However, they still stood straight. Even though their bodies were shaking uncontrollably, they tried very hard to straighten their backs, as if they were soldiers waiting to be inspected. Their eyes were all focused on Lu Chen's face. Without hard and strict training, it was undoubtedly impossible to achieve this. Ji Nongwa and the other teacher, Min, also looked at Lu Chen, waiting for his evaluation. Under everyone's gaze, Lu Chen nodded and said, very good. It was not easy to train to this level in just 2 months. The choreography of Butterfly Flight was quite good. It fully considered the characteristics of the Little Tiger Troupe's age. The choreography was not exaggerated, and the rhythm and sense of movement were very strong. The three teenagers sang and danced at the same time. Even in such a tired situation, they could still move orderly, cooperate well, and sing without going out of tune. It was really commendable. Therefore, Lu Chen's very good was not fake politeness, but praise from the bottom of his heart. Ji Nongwa's slender face revealed a smile. Seeing that the three teenagers did not react, he could not help but frown and scold them. What are you standing there for? Zhang Juanji and the others came to their senses and bowed to Lu Chen together. Thank you, Teacher Lu. Lu Chen smiled and said, you're welcome. I know Zhang Juanji. The other two, please introduce yourselves. The two teenagers looked at each other, and the one standing on Zhang Juanji's left introduced himself first. Hello, Teacher Lu. I'm Little Flying Tiger, Hui Ran. Please take care of me. After saying that, he bowed deeply to Lu Chen. His bow was obviously trained, and it was very standard. "Hello, Teacher Lu. I'm Little Obedient Tiger, Yu Yang. Please take care of me." The two members of the Little Tiger Troupe were undoubtedly carefully selected. They were similar in height, size, and age to Zhang Juanji. Little Flying Tiger, Hui Ran, had a slightly masculine appearance, and the contours of his face were clear. Zhang Juanji's facial lines were more gentle, giving people the impression that he was very obedient. Little Handsome Tiger, Little Flying Tiger, and Little Obedient Tiger. Although the three-man Little Tiger group was a group, the members had to have their own personalities and characteristics. That way, they would be able to have their own fan circles. Even if they were to fight each other, it would be a good thing. The three teenagers were handsome in their own way, and the Little Tiger Troupe was very pleasing to the eye. They believed that once they debuted, they would be able to attract a large number of young fans, especially female fans. In fact, Zhang Juanji was currently very popular on the internet because he had acted in Autumn. His Waves blog had reached more than 500,000 fans, which would undoubtedly pave the way for his official debut next year. Lu Qin nodded. The main reason he came to Star Fate Art Gallery this time was to check on the training of the Little Tiger Troupe. According to Sisterly, if the children met the requirements, it was not impossible for them to debut early. If they could not satisfy Lu Qin, it was reasonable for them to continue training for another year and a half. Of course, Lu Qin wasn't helping for free. Even though Sisterly had a good relationship with Qin Fei, he still had shares in the company. The establishment of the Little Tiger Troupe came from Lu Qin's suggestion, and Sisterly intended to make it into an entertainment brand. Sending the members to Star Fate Art Gallery for training was one of the reasons. In addition, she registered the names Little Tiger Troupe, Little Handsome Tiger, Little Flying Tiger, Little Obedient Tiger, and so on. She also commissioned a professional design company to design a cartoon logo. According to Sister Lee's plan, the Little Tiger Troupe brand would be licensed to other areas such as clothing, sports equipment, stationery, toys, electronic products, etc. At that time, Sister Lee would set up an independent company to be responsible for the management and operation of the brand. As the saying goes, think of the source of drinking water. The company that Sister Lee is going to register has reserved a lot of shares for Lu Qin. He didn't need to pay a penny, and he didn't need to participate in the management. He just needed to sit back and wait for the money. After reading Sister Lee's plan some time ago, Lu Qin couldn't help but admire this big sister's business mind. Her success wasn't by luck. Of course, there was no free lunch in the world. Just an idea and creativity wasn't enough to get such rich shares. Lu Qin needed to be responsible for composing songs for the Little Tiger Troupe and providing guidance. In fact, the road that Lu Qin was taking now was not only leading to the peak of an artist, but also to the godfather of music. For example, MSN, the Little Tiger Troupe, and more in the future. Since the Little Tiger Troupe was in good condition, Lu Qin didn't want to continue to disturb these teenagers who were training hard. After chatting with Jean Ongua and the others for a while, he planned to leave. "What are you all doing here?" At this time, a tall woman in her 20s appeared at the door of the training room and scolded the surrounding boys and girls, "Go back to your rooms. You can't run around during rest time." A group of teenagers suddenly scattered like birds and beasts. After scolding them, she smiled and greeted Sisterly. "Sisterly, are you here to see Juanji?" Sisterly said with a smile, "Yes, Jennifer, let me introduce you. This is Teacher Lu Qin. Yin Juanji." When the woman named Jennifer saw Lu Qin, her eyes suddenly lit up and she said with a smile, "It's really you." She was wearing a set of tight bodybuilding clothes. Her curvaceous figure was perfect, especially her pair of long legs, which were eye-catching. Her appearance was not extremely beautiful, but her high nose and deep eyes showed that she was obviously of foreign descent. She should be a mixed race. Sisterly introduced the beautiful woman to Lu Qin. This is Jennifer, the art director of Star of Fate Art Museum. Her Chinese name is Yuan Jun, and she comes from Australia. Lu Qin shook hands with her and said, "Hello, Director He." Jennifer stared at Lu Qin with hot eyes and said with a smile, "Just call me Jennifer. I like the movie you starred in, Autumn in My Heart. You acted so well. Can I take a picture with you?" Since becoming famous, Lu Qin had received a lot of autograph and photo requests. He didn't expect that this woman was also his fan. He smiled and said, "Of course, no problem." Jennifer immediately hugged Lu Qin's arm and put his arm between her plump breasts. She turned to Sisterly and said with a very happy smile, "Sisterly, please." Sisterly giggled as she took a few photos of the two of them with her phone. After taking the photos, Jennifer reluctantly let go of Lu Qin's hand and said, "Sisterly, are you going to leave now? Then let me see you out." She was very straightforward. To everyone's surprise, as soon as Lu Qin and the others left the training room and came to the corridor, a figure suddenly rushed over and blocked their way. Chapter 282. Lu Qin reacted quickly. He stopped and steadied himself in an instant, so he didn't bump into the person who suddenly appeared to block his way. The person realized how inappropriate her behavior was. She took a step back with a red face and bowed. "Mr. Lu Qin, I'm a loyal fan of yours and a trainee here. Can you give me some advice?" The person who blocked Lu Qin's way was a girl of 15 or 16 years old. She was short and pretty. She had short bangs, big eyes, and long eyelashes. She looked a bit like an oversized doll. Maybe it was because of excitement or shyness, the girl's face was red, and even her ears were red. When she bowed, she twisted her fingers together, revealing the anxiety in her heart. She didn't stand up after bending down, waiting for Lu Qin's answer. Everyone was shocked to see such a scene. Jennifer, who was next to Lu Qin, frowned and said unhappily, "Zhou Xiaojia, who told you to be so rude? Go back to the practice room immediately." The doors of several rooms on both sides of the corridor were open. Many trainees craned their necks to look around. When they saw Zhou Xiaojia being scolded by Jennifer, most of them had gloating looks on their faces. For most artists, their competition started when they were trainees. Zhou Xiaojia's eyes turned red after being scolded by Jennifer. She held back her tears and said with her head down, "I'm sorry, Director He, Mr. Lu Qin, I'm sorry." She was about to turn around and leave while apologizing. Lu Qin smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. Which agency are you from?" The girl was quite adorable, which reminded him of his precious sister at home. Lu Shuo was only a few years older than Zhou Xiaojia. She was supposed to be at the age where she enjoyed the love of her parents, but because she had embarked on the path of an artist, she had to train hard here even during the new year. Zhou Xiaojia suddenly showed a look of surprise and quickly replied, "Mr. Lu Qin, I'm signed with Wancher Media." Wancher Media. Lu Qin didn't have any impression of it. It was definitely not a big company in the industry. The number of entertainment agencies and film companies in Beijing, as well as all kinds of studios, could be said to be as many as the hairs on a cow. The competition was too fierce, so many small and medium-sized companies were quite miserable, and even the artists they signed were suffering. Many artists signed by small companies did not have a chance to make a name for themselves. Even if they officially debuted, they could only take on a few shows. They could only sing and dance for others or play small roles, struggling at the bottom of the entertainment industry. There were countless of such Beijing drifters. Zhou Xiaojia's appearance was not bad, but without strong support, her chances of success were similar to winning the lottery. There was a 99% chance that she would quietly disappear in the tide of the entertainment industry. Perhaps the little girl realized this, so she mustered all her courage to block Lu Qin's path. Asking for guidance, asking for attention, asking for packages, the current Lu Chen really had the qualifications to be crowned with the title of teacher. He asked, "What kind of career do you take? Singing? Dance? Acting or variety shows?" Today's artists could take many more paths than their predecessors. If they couldn't do one, they could play another. If they couldn't do anything, they could sell their face. If they didn't even have a face, they could only sell their moral integrity. Zhou Xiaojia replied, "I want to be a singer like Mr. Chen Fei." Chen Fei, Lu Chen couldn't help laughing and said, "Then I'll give you a chance. Sing me a song." He turned to Jennifer and asked, "Director can I call me Jennifer?" Jennifer smiled and said, "It's our honor that you can guide our students. I'll arrange it." She looked at Zhou Xiaojia, who was surprised, and said sincerely, "Zhou Xiaojia, you're very lucky." Star Fate Art Gallery was very famous in the circle. Many trainees were entrusted with training, and stars and idols often came to guide and encourage their new artists. There were even big shots who came. Lu Chen was not the first famous artist who had been stopped by trainees to ask for guidance, but they basically didn't succeed. The reason was actually very simple. Those big shots were used to being harassed. If they casually agreed to help, it would be really troublesome in the future. In addition, the object of guidance might be one's own competitor. Who would do such a stupid thing? Therefore, Jennifer said that Zhou Xiaojia was very lucky to meet Lu Chen. The trainees who were peeking at them were all stunned. No one thought that Zhou Xiaojia could really persuade Lu Chen to guide her. It was really enviable. Who was Lu Chen? He was an outstanding singer who had recently risen in the pop music world. Not only did he become famous, but he also made two groups famous with his works. Now he was building the Little Tiger Troupe. The background and connections of the Little Tiger Troupe were beyond their reach. They could only be envious, but not jealous. But what about Zhou Xiaojia? She was just an ordinary person among a group of trainees. She actually had the opportunity to get Lu Chen's favor, which really made everyone jealous. Some people began to wonder if they should also learn. There was a recording studio in Star Fate Art Gallery. Although the scale and equipment were not comparable to that of a professional recording studio, it was far better than the level of karaoke. It was completely enough for testing. In this recording studio, Zhou Xiaojia sang a song, "Love is a Bubble Heart," to Lu Chen and others. The original singer of this song was Chen Fei. It was a sad love song that was rare for the queen of sweet songs, and it was popular for a time. Lu Chen didn't know why Zhou Xiaojia chose this song. Obviously, she couldn't sing the feelings and artistic conception of the song. Although there was no problem with the tone and atmosphere, it couldn't give the audience the unique charm of the original song. After singing, Zhou Xiaojia realized her problem and bowed to apologize. "I'm sorry, Mr. Lu, I didn't." Lu Chen waved his hand and interrupted Zhou Xiaojia's apology, motioning for her to come out. "Ask your agency to contact my studio after the new year. We'll talk then." He said to Zhou Xiaojia, "You work hard." Zhou Xiaojia, who thought she had no chance, was stunned. Then crystal tears fell. She bowed to Lu Chen again and again. "Thank you, Mr. Lu. Thank you." Lu Chen smiled. "You can go now." After Zhou Xiaojia thanked him profusely and left, Jennifer looked at Lu Chen with a strange look. Lu Chen knew that she misunderstood, but he didn't explain. Lu Chen gave Zhou Xiaojia a chance because Zhou Xiaojia had some special conditions that moved him, nothing else. Jennifer must have misunderstood. When leaving Star Fate Art Gallery, Jennifer sent Lu Chen out and suddenly said to him seriously, "Lu Chen, I know you are a good person." These words were a bit inexplicable, but Lu Chen understood. He couldn't help laughing. Chapter 283. After leaving the Star Fate Art Gallery, Sisterly personally sent Lu Qin to the parking lot. Lu Qin said, "Sisterly, you don't have to see me off anymore. My car is parked in front. See you after the new year." Coming to the Star Fate Art Gallery to see the training of the little tigers was the last thing he would do in the capital. After that, he would drive back to Binhai with Lu Shi to spend the new year with his family. Sisterly smiled and said, "Sorry to trouble you. Jun Jining is really lucky to have you as his teacher." She hesitated for a moment and said, "Lu Qin, Jennifer grew up abroad. Her personality is a bit. How do I put it? I think she can be an ordinary friend. As for other things, don't blame Sisterly for being too talkative." Lu Qin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Sisterly, you think too much. I don't have any feelings for Director He. He is now at a time when his career is booming. He is so busy that he doesn't even have time to fall in love with Qin Fei. How can he be in the mood to flirt with other women? Moreover, Lu Qin himself is not that kind of playboy. In the entertainment circle where beautiful women are as common as clouds, there are too many temptations of all kinds. Without the rich experience brought about by his life memories in the dream world, the young Lu Qin may be lost in it. But now, he was able to calmly look at the beauties that kept appearing around him, and he was able to guard his heart. As for Jennifer, she was warm and beautiful, but she was not the type that Lu Qin liked. The reason why Sisterly reminded him was that she had a good relationship with Qin Fei, and she was the one who invited Lu Qin to the Star Fate Art Gallery. If Lu Qin was seduced by someone else, she would not be able to absolve herself from the blame. Now that she saw that Lu Qin was really not tempted, Sisterly was also relieved. She smiled and said, "Jennifer is a good person, but her background is a bit complicated. Well, I wish you a pleasant journey." Lu Qin smiled. Whether Jennifer's background was simple or complicated, it had nothing to do with him. Star Fate Art Gallery might not even come back. After waving goodbye to Sisterly, Lu Qin drove to the studio. The studio was on holiday. Li Feiyu and Chen Exayan had left the capital yesterday. Lu Shi was already waiting for him there. There were also big and small bags of luggage. Basically, they were all New Year gifts for family and friends. They were not very expensive, but they were meant to be festive and auspicious. With his luggage and sister, Lu Qin drove towards the coastal highway. The highway was more than 1,000 kilometers long and could go from the capital to Binhai. Lu Qin and Lu Shi flew all the way and returned to Binhai at 9 p.m. He returned to his home in Jingsheng district. "Brother." Lu Shuai was watching TV in the living room. When she saw her brother and sister come in, she immediately jumped up from the sofa and screamed, "Mom, brother and sister are back." As soon as her voice fell, she jumped off the sofa and rushed to Lu Qin without even wearing slippers. She threw herself directly into Lu Qin's arms and almost pushed him down. Lu Qin hugged his sister and couldn't help shaking his head. She was a grown-up girl, but she was still like a child. But his heart was still full of happiness and the joy of going home. Lu Shi put down the bags in her hands and glared at him. "You'll be 18 after the new year. You're still so careless. Get off me quickly. Don't be like this." Compared with Lu Qin's doting, Lu Shi was stricter to her sister. Lu Shuai curled her lips and obediently got off Lu Qin and took the paper bag in his hand. "Brother, what gift did you buy for me?" "Brother, do you know that you're a big celebrity in our school now? Many people ask me for autographs." "Ha, I can make a fortune selling autographs. Give me 500 autographs. I'll save them. Hee, I'll show you the love letters that others asked me to send to you later." Even girls from other schools came here. Lu Shuai kept talking to Lu Qin, as if she wanted to say all the words that she had been holding back for a long time. The unfinished Autumn in My Heart had made Lu Chen a household name in Binhai. His reputation was different from the last time he came back. Even Lu Shui had become the focus of the school, Lu Chen's sister. She said that she was worried, but in fact, she was proud, like a child who got a big toy and wanted to show off. Lu Chen had a headache. Fortunately, his mother came down and saved his life. Lu Shui, don't bother your brother, Fang Yun said with concern, you must be very hungry, right? I'll go to the kitchen and cook some supper for you. Lu Shi said, Mom, I'll help you. The mother and daughter went into the kitchen. They could still hear the voices coming from inside through the glass door. I heard a car just now. Did you drive back? Yes. It's so tiring and unsafe to drive. Take the high-speed train next time. It's fast and safe. Do you understand? The main reason is that the time is not easy to arrange. We can't book tickets in advance. When we want to buy tickets, there are no tickets, and we have to bring things. In fact, we don't need to buy things. Whatever we have in the capital can be found here. Lu Chen sat on the sofa in the living room, enjoying Lu Shui's massage. Listening to the conversation coming from the kitchen, he felt happy and at peace. He felt that all the hard work was worth it for this moment. It was a pity that such a beautiful mood was broken by Lu Shui in the blink of an eye. Brother, my classmates and I all watched the Autumn in My Heart with Qin Fei. They all said it was so beautiful. They wanted to ask what the final outcome was. Did Eunhee recover from her illness? Have you two been together? Even the teachers in the school were watching it. Teacher Zhang also asked you. If my sisters know that you are back, they will definitely, all right. Lu Chen was really defeated by her. He surrendered and said, I'll write you an autograph. 100. Lu Shui smiled and said, 100 is not enough. At least 300. By the way, brother, is it true that you and Qin Fei are in a relationship? Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What do you mean? Lu Shui was curious. Are you really in a relationship? They all said that the two of you are acting for real. Lu Chen sighed. Children shouldn't meddle in the affairs of adults. Don't talk nonsense. I'll sign 200 for you. Lu Shui was angry. I'm almost 18 years old. I'm already an adult. At least 300. The brother and sister were bickering. On the other side, Fang Yun and Lu Shi brought out the supper. It was a simple bowl of tomato and egg noodles. Lu Chen was really hungry. He finished a big bowl of noodles. It was very fragrant. He had eaten a lot of delicacies, but this taste of home was something that no hotel could make. The feeling of going home for the new year was really good. Chapter 284. February 7th, New Year's Eve. On the last day of the Year of the Goat, which was also the most important day for the people of China, a light snow inadvertently fell on Binhai, giving everyone an unexpected surprise. This was the first snow in Binhai since the beginning of winter. Although the snowflakes were very small, many children treated it like a treasure. They laughed and jumped outside, setting off fireworks in the falling snow. The crackling sound was everywhere in Jingsheng district, making people feel the arrival of the new year. In the dining room of the Lu family's villa, Fang Yun, Lu Qin, Lu Shi, and Lu Shui were sitting around the dining table and eating New Year's Eve dinner. Originally, Lu Qin wanted to order the New Year's Eve dinner in a hotel. Now that the family's situation was better than before, it would be no problem to eat in any 5-star hotel in Binhai. However, Fang Yun insisted on making it herself. She thought that the taste of the New Year's Eve dinner at home was the most authentic. The villa was brightly lit, and the living room with the heater on was as warm as spring. The family was happy and harmonious. Jingle. While he was eating, the crisp ringtone of his cell phone suddenly rang. Fong Yun glanced at it, and Lu Shui stuck out her tongue. She quickly took out her cell phone from her small bag and answered the call. Hello. After listening for a while, she looked a little strange. She handed the cell phone to Lu Qin. Brother, it's yours. Lu Qin was stunned. Mine. He took Lu Shui's cell phone and said in confusion, Hello. Big Star, I'm Huang Shan. A strong voice came from the phone. Happy New Year. Hello, class monitor. Lu Qin suddenly smiled and said, Why are you calling me at this time? Where are you? Huang Shan was his high school classmate and also the class monitor. When he was in school, Lu Qin had a good relationship with him. However, after he went to Hangzhou to study at the university, they gradually contacted each other less and less. Huang Shan said, I haven't been able to contact you, and there was no reply from QQ. I just asked someone for your sister's phone number. You should be in Binhai now. I'm having New Year's Eve dinner in the hotel. Lu Qin was embarrassed. Sorry, the original phone number is useless. He changed his number when he went to the capital the year before last, and only informed a few relatives and friends. Huang Shan didn't know. As for QQ Fein, Lu Qin even let the studio manage his blog, so he didn't have time to read it at all. Actually, he had turned down a few commercial performances this new year. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to return home. Several female students said that if they can't invite you, they won't come. Fein of the New Year, and family. Fein Fef Lunar. Huang of the Year. Several female students said that if they Don's Eve's year, they won. Fef Fian of Year. Lu Qin said with a smile, What kind of big star am I? I'm just trying to make a living. Since you said so, I'm sorry if I don't come. Which hall of Jinhao Hotel is it? Lu Qin said with a smile, I'm not a big star. I'm just trying to make a living. Since you said so, I'm sorry if I don't come. Which hall of Jinif Hotel is it? It had been more than 4 years since he graduated from high school. Because of the changes in his family, he only attended a high school reunion in the second year of graduation. When Lu Qin was in high school, he was a popular person in the school and had many friends. Huang Shan was overjoyed. Rose Hall, 5:30 p.m. Our class teacher, Mr. Yi, will also come, and my girlfriend. I told her that I was your classmate, but she didn't believe me. Later, I showed her the photo, and she insisted on coming to see you in person. Lu Qin smiled. I don't have 3 heads and 6 arms. See you then. Huang Shan was excited. Okay, then I'll inform everyone. See you the day after tomorrow. Lu Qin hung up the phone and returned it to Lu Shui. Lu Shui asked curiously, Brother, are you going to attend the high school reunion? Lu Qin nodded. Lu Shui said seriously, There must be a lot of female classmates who admire you, right? Remember not to get drunk, or you'll be eaten by others. Ouch! Her head was hit by Lu Shi with chopsticks. Her sister looked angry. What are you talking about? Lu Shui covered her head and felt wronged. Mom, my sister hit me again. It hurts. Fong Yun didn't take sides. You deserve to be hit. Kids should pay attention to what they say. Don't always learn from those things on TV and the internet. Lu Qin, don't spoil your sister. Lu Shui withered like a frosted eggplant. Lu Qin touched her head with a smile and said, Hurry up and eat. We'll set off fireworks after dinner. They had bought fireworks a long time ago. After the reunion dinner, he took his sister to the small lake in the front yard of the villa. According to the tradition, they would first set off 3 16-shot cannons, indicating the prosperity of the new year. Then, they would set off colorful bombs, which represented happiness and auspiciousness. One after another, beautiful fireworks bloomed in the night sky, and the fireworks in the surroundings complemented each other. Together, they painted a magnificent scene of fireworks that never slept. The bright firelight illuminated the villa from time to time, and also illuminated the faces of the Liu family who were enjoying the fireworks. Fang Yun stood at the door, quietly wiping away the tears at the corner of her eyes. Those were tears of joy. Ever since the accident at home, she had never thought that such a happy scene would appear in front of her again. After setting off the fireworks, Lu Chen took the time to give a red envelope to Lu Xue and said secretly, "Brother gave it to you. Don't tell Mom. Keep the flowers for yourself, but don't spend them recklessly." Lu Xue held the thick red envelope and was so happy that her eyebrows and eyes were not her eyebrows. She hugged Lu Chen and kissed him on the cheek. "Thank you, brother. You're the best." Lu Chen smiled and returned to his room. After closing the door, he lay on the bed and called Chen Feier. After a while, Chen Feier's voice came through the phone. "Happy New Year." "Lu Chen, Happy New Year. Have you had your New Year's Eve dinner?" Chen Feier, "Yes, I just finished. I'm a little full, so I'm drinking tea to help digest the food. It feels good to be home. I haven't celebrated the New Year at home for several years. This time, I'm going to rest for a few days." A superstar like Chen Feier basically didn't have many holidays, especially during important festivals, which were the busiest times. She had appeared on CCTV's Spring Festival Gala last year. Although she didn't appear on the show this year, there were all kinds of invitations. Many of the invitations were difficult to refuse. Therefore, it was rare for Chen Feier to be able to return to her home for the new year. The call from Lu Chen gave her a chance to talk. Lu Chen didn't intend to listen to her. He quietly listened to her, and the warmth in his heart rippled. He couldn't help but completely relax, hoping that time would pass slowly. In the end, he didn't even know how he fell asleep. Outside the window, the fireworks were still there. Chapter 285. The Qing River, which originated from the mountains in the western part of Zhejiang province, stretched for hundreds of kilometers all the way to the east, passing through Binhai City and dividing the fourth-tier county-level city in the southeast coast into two parts, the Old City in the north and the New District in the south. The Jinhao Hotel was located by the river in the New District in the south. This 37-story building was the first 5-star hotel in Binhai City. After 2 renovations, it was still the representative of high-end consumer places in Binhai City. Lu Chen was no stranger to the Jinhao Hotel. He was even very familiar with it. When his father's business was at its peak, he had to entertain important guests at the Jinhao Hotel 5 or 6 times a month. He also rented long-term suites. Lu Chen often went there to eat and drink. Among the 3 sisters, Lu Chen was the only one who had such treatment. Because Lu Qingxing intended to train him to be the successor of the business, he let him come into contact with the business field early. Unfortunately, who could have thought that fate was so unpredictable? Once again coming to the Jinhao Hotel, looking at the magnificent building by the Qing River, Lu Chen's heart was disappointed. After parking the car in the underground parking lot, he took the elevator to the 3rd floor and was led to the Rose Hall by the waiter. When he opened the door, a wave of hot air accompanied by a wave of sound suddenly hit him in the face. The Rose Hall was one of the best banquet halls in the Jinhao Hotel. There were 4 self-rotating tables in it, which could accommodate up to 60 guests at the same time. When Lu Chen came in, the 4 big tables were almost full. The big screen TV hanging on the east wall was playing a music video. A banner with the words, Binhai Second High School Grade 08 Class 1, 5, class reunion, was hanging on it, which was particularly eye-catching. So lively. Lu Chen was really surprised. There were a total of 58 students in his class, and all of them were here. But even if there was a class reunion during the spring festival, it was impossible to gather all of them. Because of the traffic jam, it was already past 6:00 when Lu Chen arrived. The banquet hadn't started yet. There were cold dishes and drinks on the table. Male and female students were chatting in full swing. The atmosphere was warm and noisy. When he walked into the Rose Hall, a few students noticed him, and they all revealed curious or puzzled expressions. Who is this? The current Lu Chen was almost 10 centimeters taller than when he was in high school. After more than half a year of persistent martial arts training, his physique was far more well-proportioned and sturdy than before. Coupled with the sunglasses he was wearing, his classmates really couldn't recognize him at first. Lu Chen took 2 steps, took off his sunglasses, and smiled at the classmate who was sizing him up. It was not that he was pretending to be cool, but it was not good to go out without sunglasses. It was easy to be recognized and watched. Lu Chen. At this time, a powerful roar sounded, immediately suppressing all the noise in the Rose Hall. The banquet hall instantly quietened down. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Chen in unison. They were pleasantly surprised and astonished. A burly man jumped up and rushed in front of him. He grabbed his shoulder and laughed. "Big star, you're finally here. Everyone has been waiting for you." Lu Chen sweated. "I'm really sorry. There was a traffic jam on the way." This tall and burly man was the class monitor, Huang Shan. He had a carefree and straightforward personality, and he was very popular among his classmates. Therefore, even though he wasn't very good at studying, he was still elected as the class monitor and sports committee member. Huang Shan smiled and said, "Binhai is getting more and more congested now, especially at this time. There are the most cars." He exchanged greetings with Lu Chen. Many boys and girls surrounded him and said, "Lu Chen, long time no see." "Hello. Zhang Xiaoqiang. Lin Xiao. Wang Fong." Lu Chen greeted them one by one with a smile. After 4 years, it was the first time for most of his classmates here. The familiar faces made countless memories emerge in his heart. Some students didn't come over to take pictures of Lu Chen, who was like a moon surrounded by stars. There were also 4 or 5 waitresses in the Rose Hall. When they recognized Lu Chen, their eyes were all sparkling. If it weren't for their identities, they would have already surrounded him and asked for his autograph and photos. There were also waitresses who ran out of the door and used the walkie-talkie to inform the reception desk that Lu Chen, the big star, was here. It was not easy for Lu Chen to sit down in his seat. There was a nameplate on the table with his name written on it. He was sitting next to Huang Shan, but the girl in the yellow dress next to Huang Shan was very strange. It seemed that she didn't exist in his memory. He couldn't help but ask, "This is?" Huang Shan grinned and said, "Lu Chen, this is my girlfriend, Chen Jingjing." Lu Chen said, "Hello." Chen Jingjing was petite and delicate, so she didn't look good sitting next to the burly Huang Shan. She was delicate and pretty, so she asked with a red face, "Hello, Lu Chen. I like your songs very much, and I also like autumn in my life. Can I have your autograph?" Lu Chen nodded and said, "Of course, no problem. I'll sign it for you after dinner." Huang Shan quickly added, "And a photo." Lu Chen smiled and said, "No problem." Chen Jingjing was obviously very happy. She held Huang Shan's thick arm and said, "Thank you." Huang Shan sighed and said, "You're a big star." Today, 40 of our classmates and 20 family members came. They all came because they knew that you were coming. Lu Chen suddenly understood. No wonder there were so many people here, and some of them looked unfamiliar. They were all his family members. He looked around and asked in confusion, "Where's Ms. Yi?" Ms. Yi was the class teacher. Huang Shan had said that she would come, but he didn't see her now. Huang Shan explained, Ms. Yi was going to come, but her old stomach disease came back and she was hospitalized yesterday. Lu Chen looked serious. Her stomach disease must be very serious. I'll go and see her tomorrow. As the two of them chatted, steaming hot dishes were quickly served. The atmosphere in the banquet hall became lively again. The students who hadn't seen each other for a long time were eating, drinking, talking and laughing. There were more than a dozen students at the same table as Lu Chen, and everyone's topic was basically their own situation. Some students returned to Binhai after graduating from college, or went to work in enterprises, or prepared to take the civil servant exam. Some opened their own shops and businesses, some stayed in the place where they graduated to seek development, and some continued to take the postgraduate exam. After graduating from high school, Huang Shan didn't go to college, but followed his father to do business. After 4 years, although he wasn't very successful, at least he was living a good life. He was very satisfied with his current life. According to him, no matter how much money he made, the most important thing was to be happy. He planned to get married and have children next year. Lu Chen, if you have time, you must come to my wedding with Jingjing. Chen Jingjing's eyes were shining. Obviously, she was also looking forward to it. Lu Chen said with a smile, I will come if I have time, but I'm too busy with work, so I really can't guarantee it. In the 6 months since last year, his main achievements were an album and a TV series. He didn't do many jobs and endorsements, so he wasn't very busy. But this year's situation was different. There were new albums, new TV series, and even movies, as well as Chen Fei's new album, MSN, Little Tigers, and so on. With the promotion of his status, all kinds of endorsements and invitations would inevitably come, and he would definitely be busier and busier. But the red envelope will definitely be delivered. Huang Shan laughed. That's good. By the way, do you have a girlfriend now? This question was actually a little sensitive. After all, Lu Chen was now different from ordinary people. Huang Shan was a little careless and couldn't hide things in his heart, so he asked directly, everyone says that you and Chen Fei are a couple. All the students present pricked up their ears and looked very curious. Lu Chen coughed twice and explained, the entertainment industry is very complicated. Some entertainment reporters like to write nonsense in order to grab the news, and some deliberately hype themselves up, so you can't take it seriously. He picked up some interesting anecdotes in the circle to tell everyone, cleverly avoiding Huang Shan's question. As a star artist, it would be stupid to talk about his feelings in public, unless he was hyped up. Even if it was a class reunion. And the students at the other tables saw that they were chatting happily here, and they all came over to toast. Lu Chen got up and said with a smile, thank you, everyone, but I can't drink when I drive here at night. Besides, as a singer, I have to protect my voice, so I'm really sorry. I'll use a drink instead. With so many people coming to toast him, a glass of wine from each person could make him drunk, and he really rarely drinks now. The students could understand, but they asked for a group photo alone. Last year, when Lu Chen rose rapidly in the pop music world and won the championship of Singing China, he became a celebrity in his hometown. Now, with the hit of Autumn in My Heart on Hygiene Satellite TV, his face has been fiercely brushed, and he has become a household name in Binhai. Many of Lu Chen's classmates are proud of him, and often mention him when they chat with others. Are you watching Autumn in My Heart? The hero is my classmate. Have you heard of You Who Sat Next to Me? That's my classmate. I used to play basketball with him. Do you know Lu Chen? Binhai is a small coastal city in eastern Zhejiang. It has a developed economy, a large population, and a large number of private enterprises. The place is very rich, but there is no deep cultural and historical heritage, and there are few celebrities. A star like Lu Qin, who is popular all over the country, is really the only one in his hometown. Huang Shan shouted, "I can take a group photo. Everyone line up, and I'll charge 5 yuan per person. I'll collect the money." "Thank you." Lu Qin immediately became angry. 5 yuan. How can that be? At least 6 yuan, and 1 more yuan is a rebate for you. Everyone was amused by the jokes of the two, and the atmosphere at the banquet became more and more harmonious. Their classmates are teenagers, and they have graduated from high school for 4 years. For most people, they have not yet been contaminated with the philistinism of society, and still have the spirit and sincerity of young people. Chapter 286. Whether it was a toast or a group photo, Lu Qin didn't refuse anyone. They were all classmates he had known for many years, or their relatives and friends. Whether they were real fans or not, Lu Qin didn't need to keep a distance, because they basically didn't have much utilitarian heart. The situation might be different in a few years, but at least Lu Qin didn't need to think too much. Among the classmates, the male students were more reserved, and the female students were much bolder. Some took Lu Chen's arm, and some hugged his waist. They took photos left and right, and Lu Chen's face was almost stiff from smiling. When the group photo was almost over, a middle-aged woman in a hotel uniform came to the Rose Hall under the guidance of a waiter. She walked to Lu Qin and said with a smile, "Hello, Mr. Lu Qin. It's a great honor for you to visit our Jinhao Hotel. I'm the customer service manager of Jinhao Hotel." Lu Qin nodded, "Hello." The middle-aged woman said respectfully, "We have a presumptuous request. Can you please sign and take a photo to hang on the Wall of Fame? If you agree, all the expenses in the Rose Hall will be free of charge." Lu Qin suddenly smiled. Large or well-known consumer places often set up a wall of fame to enhance the atmosphere. The photos of visiting celebrities were made into photo frames and hung on the wall. Of course, the use of commercial portrait rights must be approved. There were 4 tables at the high school reunion tonight. According to the consumption level of Jinhao Hotel, it was about 20,000 or 30,000 yuan. It was not a very large amount, but it was not very small either. Of course, for the current Lu Qin, this amount of money was nothing. He wouldn't deliberately take advantage of this, not to mention that the expenses of the reunion were all in a Dutch system. But it was precisely because of the relationship between the reunion and the fact that he had been to the hotel many times before that Lu Qin thought about it and agreed, yes, but only the photos can be hung. It can't be used for other aspects of publicity. The middle-aged woman was immediately overjoyed. Of course, no problem. Thank you so much. Binhai's economy was developed, the place was rich, and the scale of the consumer market was very large. In recent years, many 5-star hotels had been opened. Jinhao Hotel was facing fierce competition and was trying to attract customers. Even if it was not a real advertising endorsement, it was still a pleasant surprise for the Jinhao Hotel to be able to get Lu Qin, a local star. Compared with the free bill, it was really a good deal. And Lu Qin's classmates witnessed this incident with their own eyes, and they really felt the power of a star. It was just an autograph and a photo, and tens of thousands of yuan was free of charge. Of course, the students were very happy, they were saving money. This was the effect that Lu Qin wanted. Everyone's happiness was the most important thing. Someone laughed and said, Lu Qin, you have to give me a few more autographs. It will definitely increase in value. Everyone laughed heartily. The classmate party didn't end until 9 o'clock, and there was a KTV singing program later, but Lu Qin didn't go. Although they were all familiar classmates, the distance between them could not be erased. Lu Chen's position was already at a height that everyone needed to look up to. With him present, it was difficult for everyone to really let go. Lu Chen understood that he also cherished the friendship of his classmates, so he chose to go home early. Before leaving, everyone stood together on the small stage in the Rose Hall and asked the waiter to take a group photo. In the end, a female classmate said reluctantly, "Lu Chen, sing a song for everyone." Everyone jeered, "Yes, sing a song before you go." Even the waiters present showed a look of expectation. This was a real original singer. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Well, what song do you want to listen to?" The female classmate bit her lip and said loudly, "Those Flowers." Lu Chen first sang this song on the night of his college graduation, and later sang it in Singing China. It had a great influence among students and was known as the Divine Graduation Song. Lu Chen readily accepted, "Then sing this song." There were audiovisual equipment for performances in the Rose Hall, and Those Flowers was in the karaoke music library. Lu Chen didn't care that the simple music video made by pirated merchants was played on the projection screen. He held the microphone, listened to the familiar accompaniment, and sang the song again. "That laughter reminds me of my flowers, quietly blooming for me in every corner of my life. I once thought I would stay by her side forever, but today we have left, in the vast sea of people." All the classmates stood in front of the small stage, quietly listening to him sing. Many female classmates snuggled up to each other, holding hands, and humming softly to the song. "Law. I miss her, Law. Is she still there? Law. Go. They have been blown away by the wind and scattered to the ends of the earth." While humming, tears welled up. The second day after the end of the class reunion, the third day of the first lunar month. In the morning, Lu Chen drove to the Municipal People's Hospital to visit the teacher in charge of his class in the ward. The teacher in charge of Lu Chen's high school is called Yi Xiaoyan. She is almost at the age of retirement. Although she is not a famous teacher, her decades of education career can be regarded as having students all over the world. When Lu Chen was in high school in Binhai No. 2 Middle School, he was not a person who could let the teacher worry, but Teacher Yi has always been patient and meticulous in his education. Without the careful teaching of this teacher, he would not have been able to be admitted to Jianghai University. Teacher's kindness cannot be forgotten. Knowing that Teacher Yi was hospitalized due to illness, Lu Chen came to visit her. From Huangshan, Lu Chen already knew the ward number of Teacher Yi, so he took the elevator directly and found the room smoothly. Teacher Yi lived in an ordinary ward, with 3 beds, all of which were occupied by patients. Lu Chen did not know the patients lying in the 2 beds near the door and in the middle. The innermost bed was surrounded by 5 or 6 people, both men and women, who were arguing fiercely about something. Although their voices were deliberately lowered, all of them looked emotional, which attracted the attention of the nurses present, with a vigilant and disgusted look. Through the gap of the crowd, Lu Chen saw Teacher Ye's familiar face. She was obviously a lot older, her face was full of tired wrinkles, her hair was white, and her eyes were closed as if she was asleep. But the sadness on her face showed that her heart was not calm at this moment. Lu Chen did not immediately go over, but stood at the door and listened for a moment. From the mouths of those who surrounded the bed, he heard words such as expenses, care, share, judgment, and so on. Lu Chen could not help but think of some rumors about Teacher Ye's family that he had heard before, and his heart understood a little. An inexplicable anger surged in his heart. Chapter 287. Who are you looking for? The nurse, who had just finished changing the patient's medicine in the ward, saw Lu Chen standing at the door and asked curiously. This handsome guy was very stylish. He was tall and straight like a model, and the sunglasses on his face couldn't hide his handsomeness. The sight of him holding flowers made the little nurse's heart palpitate, and some scenes from idol dramas appeared in her mind. Lu Chen smiled at her and said, I'm here to see Teacher Yi. His voice was neither soft nor loud, but everyone in the ward heard it clearly. The men and women who were fighting around the bed couldn't help but turn their heads and look. Finally, they stopped making noise. Even Teacher Yi Xiaolian, who was lying on the bed, opened her eyes. Lu Chen took off his sunglasses and walked straight over. He was 180 meters tall and very handsome. Coupled with his strong aura, the two middle-aged men in front of him couldn't help but move away. The little nurse holding the medical records suddenly widened her eyes. The person in front of her was different from the one in her memory. Lu Chen walked to the front of the bed and put the flowers on the bedside table. He smiled and asked Teacher Yi, who looked surprised, Teacher Yi, are you feeling better? Yi Xiaolian fumbled for her glasses under the pillow and put them on. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Lu Chen. After a while, she showed a surprised look. Lu Chen, you are Lu Chen. After 4 or 5 years, Lu Chen's appearance had changed a lot, but she still quickly recognized him. It's me, Lu Chen smiled and said, last night at the class reunion, it was Huang Shan who told me that you were sick. Today, I came to see you on behalf of all the students, and they will also come. Yi Xiaolian struggled to sit up, and Lu Chen quickly supported her and helped her sit more comfortably with a pillow. Teacher Yi grabbed Lu Chen's hand and said with emotion, it's really you. I almost couldn't recognize you. Now you are more handsome than before, and you have grown up and matured. Lu Chen nodded and gently held his teacher's rough and cold hand. He had grown up and matured, but Teacher Yi was even older and thinner. The years were too merciless. Recalling his teacher's care and concern for him in the past, Lu Chen's heart was extremely sour. He felt as if he had done something wrong, as he hadn't greeted his teacher for several years. The middle-aged men and women around the bed looked at each other. An uncontrollable scream suddenly rang out, instantly attracting everyone's attention. The young nurse was covering her mouth with a red face. When she saw everyone looking at her, she awkwardly pushed the door open and left the ward. As she ran, she didn't forget to look back at Lu Chen again. Yi Xiaolian smiled and said, I heard that you are a star now. I even saw your news on the internet. You are really promising. Teacher is very happy. Perhaps it was because she was in a good mood, her face regained some color and showed some spirit. Have you settled everything at home? Lu Chen couldn't help but feel warm when he heard this. He knew that Teacher Yi had been concerned about him since he graduated from high school. It's all settled. All the debts at home have been paid off, and the house has been redeemed. Yi Xiaolian was gratified. That's good. You can make money now. You have to be more filial to your mother. It's really not easy for her. Lu Chen's nose turned sour and he said, she is very well now. You also have to take good care of yourself. If there is anything, call us. We are all children raised by you. We are not ungrateful people. The middle-aged men and women around him looked embarrassed. They felt that Lu Chen's words were like a slap in their faces. Yi Xiaolian had a total of 3 sons and 1 daughter. All of them were present today, including her 2 daughters-in-law. They were just arguing about the sharing of medical expenses and hiring a nanny to take care of her, which was the matter of money. In fact, a teacher like Yi Xiaolian had medical insurance and a high salary. However, the medical expenses were very high now. If she got seriously ill, she would have to deduct the part that could be reimbursed. The burden on her was not light. Hiring a nurse was also not cheap. It was normal to pay thousands or tens of thousands of yuan. It was really difficult for ordinary people to bear. But then again, if the 4 children shared the cost together, it was not a big number. Yi Xiaolian would not let them pay all the money, but they still argued with each other. Lu Chen heard it clearly just now and he was extremely disgusted. His mother, Fang Yun, knew Yi Xiaolian. She had once told Lu Qin that the latter's children had no conscience. Yi Xiaoyan had been engaged in education for decades and had never accepted gifts from students' parents. Her husband died very early, and it was not easy for her to raise 4 children alone. However, after these children got married and established a career, they had no filial piety. Now he saw that it was true. A middle-aged man couldn't keep his face. He glared and scolded, "Boy, what are you talking about?" Lu Chen's face darkened. He suddenly stood up and stared at the man with extremely sharp eyes. The middle-aged man's wife's complexion changed. She pulled her husband's sleeve and whispered a few words. She had heard of Lu Qin and knew Lu Chen's identity, so she was subconsciously timid. Cough, cough. Yi Xiaoyan coughed twice and waved her hand, saying, "I'm talking to my students. All of you leave, leave." Her children looked at each other and hesitated to move. Lu Qin sat down again and apologized. "Teacher Yi, I'm sorry," Yi Xiaoyan resolutely said, "all of you leave. You don't need to pay for the medical expenses, and I don't need a nanny." Then, "Mom, we'll see you later." Her children and daughters-in-law left in a hurry and disappeared in the blink of an eye. No one really wanted to stay and take care of them. Yi Xiaoyan forced a smile at Lu Qin and said, "I've let you see a joke. I've taught so many students, but I didn't educate my children well. But they also have their difficulties." Lu Qin shook his head and said, "It doesn't matter. You still have us. I'll ask the doctor to transfer you to the intensive care unit." He reached out to press the call bell. Yi Xiaoyan stopped him, "Don't bother. I'm fine living here. It's an old problem. I know you want to help me, but I haven't reached this point yet. My medical insurance and salary are enough. If you have more money, go help more people who need help." She held Lu Chen's hand again and showed a faint smile on her face. "I know everything about you raising money to help the girl with leukemia. I'm really proud of you. What I'm most happy about is not that you have become a star or a celebrity, but that you have a kind heart. Don't forget your original intention, then you can go further on the road of life." Lu Qin nodded vigorously. After talking so much with Lu Qin, coupled with the ups and downs of her mood, Yi Xiaoyan showed a little fatigue. Lu Qin quickly said, "Teacher, you should rest." Yi Xiaoyan nodded and said, "Well, you should go back too. You don't have to accompany me here. Remember to go home when you have time." With that, she closed her eyes. Lu Qin silently helped the teacher remove the pillow, helped her lie down and covered her with the quilt, and watched her fall asleep. After making sure that Teacher Yi had fallen asleep, Lu Qin got up and left the ward. As soon as he walked out of the room, he felt many hot eyes focused on him. These eyes all came from the angels in white who worked at the nurse's station. They obviously already knew about Lu Qin. If it weren't for their work duties, they would have surrounded him. Lu Qin quickly put on his sunglasses again and walked to the information desk at the nurse's station. He asked the nurse sitting inside, "Hello, I want to change the patient in Ward 1870 to the intensive care unit. How do I go through the procedures? Is Teacher Yi Xiaoyan in Ward 1870? The nurse blushed and whispered, "I'll help you check if there are any vacancies in the intensive care unit." Lu Qin smiled and said, "Yes, sorry to trouble you." The intensive care unit was a ward with special care. There was a single room and a nurse to monitor it 24 hours a day. Therefore, there was no need for family members to accompany them. It saved effort and money. Medical insurance would not reimburse them. But for Lu Qin, there was no pressure to pay for it. He was lucky. Probably because it was the new year, the wards in the People's Hospital were not so tight. There were still empty intensive care units, but according to the regulations, the patient or his family could transfer to another ward. Fortunately, Lu Chen's star aura played a role. After the deputy director on duty at the People's Hospital got the news, he rushed over in person. After learning about Lu Chen's request, he gave special treatment without hesitation. Respecting teachers was a good thing to promote virtue, not to mention that Lu Chen was a famous person in Binhai. At the same time, Lu Chen learned that teacher Ye's illness was mainly serious gastric bleeding, which was a precursor to stomach cancer. Moreover, she had been overworked for many years and her liver and kidney functions were not good, so she needed a long time to recuperate and treat. He deposited a sum of money in his teacher's medical account and left his phone number at the hospital. In case the treatment fee was not enough, he could inform him in time. Of course, Lu Chen also left his signature and a group photo. When he left the hospital, it was almost noon. Driving out of the parking lot, Lu Chen was ready to go home for lunch. He did not expect that after a few steps, his cell phone rang. He answered the phone with the car speaker. "Hello, Lu Chen," there was a familiar voice on the other side. "Where are you?" It was Chen Fei. Lu Chen smiled and said, "I'm in Binhai. I just went to the hospital to visit my teacher. Now I'm going home." Chen Fei asked, "Can you pick me up at the high-speed railway station first? I'll be there soon." "What?" Lu Chen was shocked. "You came to Binhai?" Chen Fei smiled and said, "Yes, it's my first time in Binhai. Do you welcome me?" Lu Chen was speechless, this was too much of a surprise. Chapter 288. Lu Chen didn't expect that Chen Fei would come to Binhai to meet him. This spring festival, the heavenly queen of the music industry turned down all invitations and went back to her hometown for the new year. For a big shot like her, unless she was determined to retire like Tan Hong, she wouldn't have much time to rest throughout the year. The new year was considered a long holiday for her, so time was extremely precious. Lu Chen couldn't help but feel excited. He hurriedly drove to the high-speed railway station to pick her up. When Lu Chen arrived at the station, Chen Fei's high-speed railway had just arrived. After waiting for a few minutes at the exit, he saw Chen Fei wearing a mask and sunglasses, as well as the latter's personal female bodyguard. The female bodyguard was called Xian. It was said that she was a special female guard who had retired from the military. She had been with Chen Fei for several years. She looked ordinary and quiet, but her performance was very professional. She was also Chen Fei's daily driver and part-time assistant. She was one of Chen Fei's most trusted people. Out of the gate, Chen Fei also saw Lu Chen standing in the crowd. She quickly walked over to him. Lu Chen opened his arms and hugged Chen Fei in his arms. Smelling the familiar fragrance, Lu Chen resisted the urge to take off his mask and kiss her. He whispered, "Why are you here? Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Chen Fei said in a muffled voice through the mask, "I missed you, so I wanted to give you a surprise." Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. "Let's go." There were many people here. If they were recognized by others, it would undoubtedly be very troublesome. Lu Chen drove the two to the Jinhao Hotel first. They booked a room with the bodyguard's ID card, and checked into a large luxury business suite. After settling down, Xian hid in the attaché room, leaving space for the two of them. Chen Fei wore an ordinary down jacket today and didn't make up much, but she was still so beautiful without her glasses and mask. Lu Chen could no longer resist the inner impulse and held her for a long, deep kiss. Chen Fei responded enthusiastically and struggled a few times until she was almost out of breath. Lu Chen reluctantly let go of her and said, "You must be hungry. Let's go down and eat first." Chen Fei nodded softly and said with a smile, "You are the host, so you make the decision." Lu Chen smiled, put his arm around her waist and said, "Let's settle it here at noon. Come to my house tonight." My mother will be very happy to see you. Chen Fei's pretty face turned red. She hesitated for a moment and asked, "Is that not good?" "What's wrong with that?" Lu Chen said domineeringly, "Sooner or later, it's decided. I'll call her first." Chen Fei took the initiative to come to Binhai to find him. If he continued to hide it from his family, what kind of man would he be? After that, Lu Chen took out his mobile phone and called Fong Yun. He told his mother that first of all, he wouldn't go home for lunch at noon, and that a friend would come to visit in the evening. Lu Chen didn't say that it was his girlfriend, so Fong Yun naturally agreed. While Lu Chen was talking to Fong Yun, Chen Fei hid behind him and hugged his waist with a sweet look on her face. They hadn't known each other for a long time. She didn't expect that they would come to this step so quickly. But feelings were like this. Once they fell in love, they couldn't wait to let the whole world know. Because of their special identities, it was not appropriate to make their relationship public for the time being. However, Lu Chen took Chen Fei to see his parents, which was undoubtedly a serious and responsible attitude towards their relationship. She didn't waste her efforts. They had lunch in the hotel restaurant. Chen Fei was tired after taking the high-speed train for 4 hours to Binhai, so she didn't go out in the afternoon. She slept in her room and didn't get up until 3 o'clock. It was the first time that she met Lu Chen's parents. Of course, she wouldn't be careless. She spent more than an hour dressing up carefully. It wasn't until 5 o'clock that they arrived at the Lu family's house. "Mom! I'm back." After entering the door with big and small bags, Lu Chen shouted at the top of his voice. Fong Yun and Lu Shi were busy in the kitchen. Hearing the sound, she hurriedly poked her head out and said, "I see. Ask your friend to sit down and have tea first. The food will be ready soon." Chen Fei hurriedly greeted, "Hello, Auntie. Sorry to disturb you." Fong Yun was stunned. She didn't expect that Lu Chen would bring a girl home, and the girl looked very familiar. Ah! At this moment, Lu Shui, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, screamed and jumped up. She stared at Chen Fei, her eyes wide open, and there was a piece of popcorn stuck to the corner of her mouth. Chen Fei, Chen Fei smiled and said, "Hello, you must be Lu Shui, right?" Lu Shui's face was full of disbelief, as if she had found something incredible. The next moment, she directly rushed over and hugged Chen Fei tightly, screaming, "Oh! I'm not dreaming, am I? It's really Chen Fei, it's really me." Lu Shui has always been a fan of Chen Fei, especially after watching Autumn in My Heart, she became a crazy fan. She even begged Lu Chen, hoping that Lu Chen could take her to see Chen Fei, Now that she actually saw Chen Fei in her own home, the little girl felt like it was a dream. It was very unreal. Chen Fei was a little surprised, but she had seen too many fans, so she quickly adapted to it. She smiled and patted the girl's shoulder. "It's me, you're not dreaming." At this time, Lu Shi ran out of the kitchen and was also surprised to see Chen Fei. She was the first to know about the relationship between Lu Chen and Chen Fei, and she also knew that the two of them didn't want to make their relationship public. Therefore, Chen Fei's sudden visit really shocked Lu Shi. Did the two of them think it through? Lu Shui. Fong Yun took off her apron and stuffed it into Lu Shi's hand. She walked out of the kitchen and scolded the little girl who was entangled like an octopus around Chen Fei's little girl. "Let go of the guest, what are you doing?" She turned to Chen Fei and smiled. "Sit down, don't pay attention to this crazy girl." Chen Fei's pretty face blushed. "Thank you, Auntie." Fong Yun looked at Chen Fei and she was very satisfied with her. Qin Fei's figure and appearance were impeccable. When she was with Lu Qin, they were definitely a match made in heaven. If there were any shortcomings, it would be that Qin Fei was a few years older than Lu Qin. But in Fang Yun's opinion, this was not a problem at all. Older women could love men more, and they were more understanding. Lu Shui finally let go of Qin Fei, but she still held her hand, looking distracted. Sister Fei, can I call you sister-in-law in the future? Qin Fei's face turned even redder. Chapter 289. On the third day of the Lunar New Year, the Lu family was particularly happy. Qin Fei's sudden visit added a lot of joy to the family, especially when Lu Shui was always by her idol's side. No matter how Fang Yun scolded her, she still clung to him shamelessly. The dinner was joyous and harmonious. Fang Yun kept putting food into Qin Fei's bowl and took good care of him. Lu Qin and the other two were almost jealous. Qin Fei was very embarrassed, but he couldn't refuse. He watched the dishes piling up in his bowl. Lu Qin brazenly protected the beauty and secretly helped to eliminate a lot of them. As a result, he was scolded by Fang Yun. Lu Qin was helpless. Qin Fei pursed her lips and smiled. After dinner, she wanted to help clean up the dishes, but Fang Yun firmly stopped her. Lu Shui pestered Qin Fei with countless questions. Qin Fei loved her very much. She also took out a gift for her. Lu Shui opened the beautifully wrapped box with surprise and found that there was a diamond-studded princess crown in it. It was very beautiful. She was so happy that she almost fainted. Thank you, Sister Fei. Of course, Qin Fei didn't just bring one gift. She also gave Lu Xi a set of branded cosmetics and a mink coat for Fang Yun. Fang Yun complained, I'm very happy that you can come. Why did you buy such expensive gifts? She knew that the mink coat was at least tens of thousands of yuan. Qin Fei said obediently, it's just a little token of my appreciation. It's not very expensive. The more Fang Yun looked at Qin Fei, the more she liked him. Not only was he handsome and beautiful, but he also had a good temperament. Moreover, he was a well-mannered lady. Fang Yun began to worry that her son was not worthy of Qin Fei. After thinking for a while, Fang Yun went back to her room upstairs. She quickly returned and pulled Qin Fei's hand. She put on a green jade bracelet for Qin Fei. Fang Yun said, Fei, it's our first time meeting. I don't have anything good to give you. This bracelet was left to me by Grandma Lu Qin. Now I'm giving it to you. I hope you like it. Although this jade bracelet wasn't a top-notch item worth millions or even tens of millions, it was still an antique from the Qing dynasty. It was a family heirloom of the Lu clan that was passed down through the generations. It was meant for Lu Chen's wife. Therefore, when the Lu family was at its most difficult time, Fang Yun had never thought of selling the bracelet. She gave the jade bracelet to Qin Fei, which meant that she officially recognized the latter. How could Qin Fei not understand Fang Yun's intention? She blushed and said softly, Thank you, Auntie. With her wealth, she could afford jade worth tens of millions, but she couldn't find anything more precious than the one in her hand. Seeing that Qin Fei accepted the jade bracelet, Fang Yun was even happier. She held Qin Fei's hand and began to inquire about Qin Fei's family. Qin Fei's hometown was Xia Island. When she was very young, her parents divorced and formed new families. Her mother emigrated to Canada early in her life. Her father was currently teaching at a university in the capital. She was raised by her grandmother. Her parents had 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters, but they didn't have much contact with each other. Fang Yun sighed. It was really not easy for Qin Fei to achieve what she had today with such a family situation. The two chatted as if they were the most intimate mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. As a result, Lu Qin, Lu Shui, and others were left aside. Chen Fei was a little worried when she came over. She didn't know whether Lu Chen's mother was easy to get along with. For Chinese people, the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law was always the most complicated. Now, it seems that her worries are completely superfluous. Fang Yun's character is strong, generous, and gentle. Her love for her is completely from the heart. The two get along surprisingly well, and even have a kind of regret for not meeting each other earlier. Time flew, and it was almost 10 o'clock in the blink of an eye. Fang Yun reluctantly ended the conversation with Chen Fei and told Lu Xiaoxi, tidy up the guest room upstairs. She then said to Chen Fei, it's late. You can stay here and have an early rest. In fact, Chen Fei didn't intend to stay in the Lu family's house, but now that it had come to this, she couldn't refuse Fang Yun's kindness, so she shyly agreed. Chen Fei followed Lu Shi to the guest room, and Lu Shui naturally followed them. Lu Qin also wanted to follow, but Fang Yun stopped him. Fang Yun complained, why didn't you tell me earlier that your girlfriend was coming? I didn't even prepare. Lu Qin rubbed his nose and said with a wry smile, I didn't know before. Let's not talk about this, Fang Yun said, Fei is really a good person. You should cherish her. The most important thing for two people to get along is tolerance and understanding. As a man, you should take more responsibility and not be as willful as before. Lu Qin nodded and said seriously, I know. Fang Yun said, when you were young, your grandmother told your fortune in the Baiyun Taoist temple. She said that you would be surrounded by love when you grew up. I don't believe in fortune-telling, but now that you have a girlfriend and are developing in the entertainment industry, you will definitely come into contact with a lot of girls. Remember to control yourself. Don't let Fei down because of your love. Lu Qin scratched his head and said, I know. Fang Yun rolled her eyes at him and said, don't make the girls who like you cry. Lu Qin was speechless. He felt that his mother was like a top NPC in the game, and then she gave him a legendary mission, which he had to complete. Fang Yun drove him away. Go and rest early. But Lu Qin didn't feel sleepy at all. After sitting in his room for more than half an hour, he couldn't help but secretly run to the guest room. He knocked on the door gently. After a while, the door opened quietly, and the beautiful woman smiled sweetly. Obviously, she had expected it. Lu Chen's heart warmed up. He went into the room, held Chen Fei in his arms, and closed the door. Chen Fei had just taken a bath and was wearing a set of long-sleeved pajamas. The air conditioner in the room was warm, and she was so fragrant that Lu Chen had the urge to turn into a beast, and his eyes were red. He lowered his head and kissed her lips fiercely. Chen Fei let Lu Chen touch her gently, but when his big hand reached into her pajamas, she blushed and stopped him from going further into the forbidden area. In this regard, Chen Fei was very conservative. Lu Chen resisted the urge, let go of her reluctantly, and pulled her to sit on the bed. This is a gift for you. Chen Fei took out a small silver box from under the pillow and handed it to Lu Chen. Lu Chen was surprised. I have one too. He opened the box happily and found that Chen Fei gave him a silver metal pendant. It was unique in shape and well made, but it was definitely not a valuable item. Chen Fei explained, this is a lucky charm. It is said that wearing it will bring you good luck. Lu Chen smiled. My luck is already very good. He was telling the truth. He thanked fate for giving him an incredible miracle when he was at his lowest. He also thanked fate for letting him meet this beautiful woman in front of him and fall in love with her. Even so, he still wore the lucky charm on himself. Watching Lu Chen put on the charm, Chen Fei tilted his head and asked him, do you know what day it will be in a few days? A few days. Lu Chen was stunned, but he quickly reacted. Valentine's Day. Chen Feier smiled. Yes, I have an endorsement event that day, so I came to meet you in advance, so that's how it is. Lu Chen suddenly realized that today was February 10th, and it would be Valentine's Day in a few days. Chen Feier obviously had important work arrangements, so he specially came to Binhai to celebrate the festival with him in advance. This lucky charm is a Valentine's Day gift. Lu Chen was annoyed. You didn't remind me. I haven't prepared a gift for you. Chen Feier smiled. You can make it up to me when the time comes. It's not too late. Lu Chen's eyes turned, and he suddenly threw her on the bed. He leaned close to her jade-like ear and chuckled, Why don't I give myself to you as a gift now? How about I devote myself to you? Chen Feier's pretty face showed shyness again. Her eyes were full of charm. She was really beautiful. Lu Chen couldn't bear it. He hugged her and kissed her again. This time, Chen Feier was also very emotional. She finally released her upper body to Lu Chen, letting him enjoy the amazing warm and smooth feeling that couldn't be grasped with one hand. Unfortunately, even when she was at the most confused, she still held the bottom line and didn't let Lu Chen complete the final breakthrough. The two lingered for a long time. The next morning, Chen Feier, who was almost the daughter-in-law of the Lu family, said goodbye to Lu Chen and the Lu family and returned to the capital. On February 12th, the 5th day of the first month of the lunar calendar, Lu Chen and Lu Shi also returned to the capital. When leaving, Lu Chen left his Mercedes-Benz to his mother, so that it would be convenient for her to go to and from work. Fang Yun didn't want it. She thought that the Mercedes-Benz SUV was too ostentatious. However, she couldn't resist the persuasion of Lu Chen and Lu Shi, so she reluctantly kept it. In fact, in Binhai, there were all kinds of luxury cars. Supercars were common on the street. A Mercedes-Benz SUV was nothing at all. The most important thing was that its safety factor was high enough to make them feel at ease. In the end, Lu Shi didn't forget to remind Lu Xue not to tell others about Chen Feier. The love between the two couldn't be exposed for the time being. Lu Xue finally became sensible for once. She swore to keep her mouth shut and never reveal the secret. Lu Chen was deeply doubtful about this. However, he couldn't care about other things for the time being. After returning to the capital, he was busy with work. It was a coincidence that Lu Chen also had an important endorsement event on Valentine's Day. Then, as soon as he returned to the capital, people from all walks of life came to his door. There were peers in the circle, entertainment agencies, record and film companies, and reporters from TV stations and newspapers and magazines. In addition, Lu Chen also received an invitation. 72H Grass Music Festival. Chapter 290. With the formation of the entertainment industry, there were currently many pop music festivals in the country. 72H was undoubtedly one of the most famous music festivals, and it had the longest history, dating back to the 90s. In the early 90s, many domestic record companies and 7 famous musicians in the circle jointly advocated the first Mystic Open Music Festival in Beijing's Chaoyang Park. At that time, 32 singers and 11 bands were invited to participate, and the audience that came to participate in the music festival exceeded 10,000 people. Rock and roll representatives such as the famous Black Crow Band, Sky Band, and so on all participated in this music feast. At that time, the Mystic Open Music Festival caused a great sensation in the domestic music industry, and it was the predecessor of the 72H Grass Music Festival. Later, it was renamed and moved to Yeshan Park in the New Era Art Park. So far, the 72H Grass Music Festival had been held 19 times. Although it had been interrupted a few times in the middle, its influence in the pop music industry had always been great, and it was especially loved by true pop music lovers. The 72H Grass Music Festival mainly invited singers and bands with unique characteristics. Regardless of whether the other party was a big shot in the circle or a street performer, as long as they had a unique singing style or work, they would have the opportunity to stand on its stage and show their strength to tens of thousands of audience members. In the previous 72H Grass Music Festival, there had been many bands that were originally unknown and many musicians who mingled at the bottom of the circle became famous with one song. They were signed by entertainment agencies on the spot and embarked on the road to fame. According to the past practice, the 72H Grass Music Festival would start at noon on the first Friday of March every year and end at noon on the next Monday, lasting exactly 72 hours. At that time, the singers, bands, and live audience members would come from all over the country. The music festival's organizing committee would only be responsible for the traveling expenses and accommodation of the singers and bands that came to participate in the performance, and would not pay any additional compensation. The performance site was a temporary outdoor stage. The audience could set up tents and camp on the grass around the stage, drink beer, eat barbecue, and listen to music for 3 consecutive days and 2 nights. It was precisely because of the special atmosphere that the commercial atmosphere of 72H was very light, leaning towards purity and niche. The songs that were popular here would not be fast songs or divine songs. Even if Chin Feier went on stage, she would not get much applause. This was because she sang sweet songs, and the 72H audience liked rock, jazz, R&B, rap, and so on. The audience of 72H was very harsh. It was not easy to get their approval. If they liked someone, they would shout, clap, and shout. If they didn't like someone, they would just boo them off the stage. There were often famous singers or bands that were booed at the 72H live venue until they were in a sorry state and lost all face. Therefore, when people in the industry received this invitation, they would seriously consider it. Those who were strong were naturally not afraid, and they would gladly accept the challenge. But those who were not strong enough. Lu Shi asked, "Do you want to participate?" After she received this invitation, she specially went online to learn about the 72H Music Festival. She felt that the taste inside was not very right, because Lu Chin was obviously not the kind of singer that the 72H Grass Music Festival loved. One of the purposes of the 72H Grass Music Festival was to give opportunities to those powerful singers at the bottom and underground levels. Of course, they also welcomed companies like the Bionics. Lu Chin faintly smiled and said, "Why not?" He had heard of the Mystic Music Festival when he was in junior high, and he had been looking forward to it. Now that the other party had taken the initiative to invite him, he could fulfill his childhood dream. As for the problems that others were worried about, Lu Chin really didn't have to worry. Lu Shi wasn't very worried. Since Lu Chin wanted to go, she wouldn't dissuade him. "Okay, then I'll reply to them." The matter of participating in the 72H Grass Music Festival was settled. Lu Shi handed Lu Chin another piece of paper. On the thin A4 printing paper, the latest ratings data of Autumn in My Heart were listed. On February 5th and 6th, Hygiene Satellite TV continued to broadcast the 17th and 18th episodes of this popular drama, winning the terrifying ratings of 2.23% and 2.47% respectively, continuing the previous miracle. It should be known that these 2 days were the eve of New Year's Eve. Under normal circumstances, the ratings of TV dramas would generally decline. Not only was Autumn in My Heart not affected by the new year, but it rose against the market, which was really incredible. As for QQ Video, the total number of views of Autumn in My Heart has exceeded 2 billion, crushing all competitors. And the last 2 episodes of Autumn in My Heart, the finale, will be broadcast on the 13th and 14th. It coincided with Valentine's Day. Lu Chin wanted to laugh. Is this really okay? Lu Shi knew the ending of the story. She thought about it very seriously and smiled. You'll be scolded to death. Lu Chen said, maybe, but I think a lot of people will remember this Valentine's Day. A smile appeared on his face. It was more or less a little evil. By the way, Lu, she said, Shanghai Publishing House, Group News Publishing House, and Beijing Publishing House have all contacted us, hoping to publish the novel version of Autumn in My Heart. The conditions given by the three are not bad. In addition, there is Color Impression Comic Book Society, which wants to get the comic adaptation rights of Autumn in My Heart, and the ratings of Autumn in My Heart have broken through the phenomenal level, and the number of audience fans has been increasing. A popular IP has quickly taken shape, and naturally, various units and institutions want to obtain the IP expansion copyright from Lu Chen Publishing House. Novels and comics are only a part of it, and they also represent huge profits. Lu Chen thought about it and said, these two copyrights are up to you. Whoever gives more will get it. We can put the novel together with the publishing house on the internet for crowdfunding, and produce a few more set versions. The novel version of Autumn in My Heart, serialized on his blog, ended after 2/3 of the content was published, leaving room for physical publishing in advance. The use of crowdfunding would undoubtedly improve sales results. Originally, Lu Shi estimated that Autumn in My Heart could bring Lu Chen Studio a profit of about 15 million yuan, but now it seemed that it was still a big underestimation. The market's enthusiasm for IP meant more benefits. Well, I got it. Lu Shi wrote it down and said, don't forget to prepare for the event on the 14th. On February 14th, that is, Valentine's Day, Lu Chen will attend the opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store in Beijing. He has signed a 1-year endorsement contract with this clothing brand, and he must attend such an important event. Senki Clothing will also launch their new couple sportswear on that day, and Lu Chen will be a model. As a singer, Lu Chen must sing live. Because of the special day, choosing a song is very important. Lu Chen said with a smile, I won't forget. He has already thought about what song to sing that day, but he needs to prepare in advance. Chapter 291. It was still early. Lu Chen took out his mobile phone, opened the address book, and called Wang Jing of Nirvana Studios. He was going to let the other party do the live accompaniment for the opening of Senki's flagship store in Beijing. Originally, Lu Chen had contracted these businesses to Flying Stone Records, but this time, he didn't have much work. In addition, Wang Jing borrowed money from him last time. It should be that Nirvana Studios had a problem with its operation, so he would help if he could. After all, the two sides used to cooperate very happily. As a result, the phone rang a dozen times, but no one answered, and then it went to voicemail. Lu Chen didn't care and called Wang Chongqing again. The other party turned off his phone. This time, Lu Chen was a little puzzled. Although it was only the 6th day of the first lunar month, it was impossible for Nirvana Studios not to have opened yet. It should be known that the first lunar month was often the best time for music production units. He thought about it and simply went straight to Nirvana Studios. It was in the same park, and it was only a 10-minute walk from here to there. When he arrived at the floor where Nirvana was located, as soon as the elevator door opened, Lu Chen saw a scene of chaos. The door of the studio was open, and various tables, chairs, benches, and cardboard boxes were piled up in the doorway. Inside, people in blue work uniforms were busy, as if they were moving. Wang Jing, Wang Hui, and the 3 members of the Nirvana band were standing in the corner of the door. They were either holding instruments or big boxes in their hands, and all of them looked lost. Seeing such a scene, Lu Chen couldn't help but be surprised. He hurriedly walked over and asked, Wang Jing, Wang Hui, what happened to your studio? Are you going to move? Brother Lu Chen, Wang Hui squeezed out an ugly smile and said, our studio is over. Over? Lu Chen was stunned. He knew that Nirvana Studios' business had not been very good, but it was barely able to keep going. Moreover, this studio was the culmination of Wang Changxing's family's efforts. How could it end just like that? Wang Jing's face was pale. She twisted her hands and said in a low voice, "Lu Qin, I owe you money, let's not talk about this." Lu Qin interrupted her, "Tell me what's going on." When he was working on the album, You Who Sat Next to Me, he worked at Nirvana Studios for a long time and had a good relationship with Wang Jing and Wang Hui. Later, he ended the cooperation because he needed to improve the quality of his work. The equipment and foundation of Nirvana Studios were still lacking. However, during that collaboration, Lu Qin learned a lot from Wang Jing and got along well with his peers. They were young, enthusiastic, full of drive and enthusiasm, full of expectations for the future. So now that he heard that Nirvana Studios was over, Lu Qin also felt uncomfortable and uneasy and wanted to ask what was going on. Wang Hui glanced at his sister timidly and then explained the reason to Lu Qin. It turned out that a month ago, Wang Changxing received a big contract, the kind that was quite profitable. If done well, the studio could last for a year, but the initial investment was relatively large. In order to get this contract, he raised money everywhere without discussing it with Wang Hui and Wang Jing. He even mortgaged his studio's equipment to raise 700,000 yuan to invest in the project. As a result, he never expected that the other party turned out to be a group of swindlers who set a trap for Wang Changxing. All the investments were naturally wasted, and the creditors came to the door again. Suffering such a heavy blow, Wang Changxing fell ill directly and was still in the hospital. And Nirvana Studios naturally could not be kept. It was not enough to pay off all the assets to others. Such a thing actually happened. Lu Qin didn't know what to say. The business world was like a battlefield. A little carelessness could lead to total annihilation. After all, Wang Changxing was not experienced enough to be cheated, but these swindlers were really hateful. He asked, "Have you called the police?" Wang Hui nodded and said, "Yes, we are not the only studio that was cheated. The police have filed a case, but the people have long run away. The money in the bank account has been transferred, and it is difficult to recover the loss." He looked sad. "The money can be transferred again, but my father," Lu Qin reached out and patted him on the shoulder to comfort him. "You are here, is there anyone taking care of Uncle Wang?" Wang Hui said, "My mother is with him. He is fine, but he is mainly worried." At this time, Wang Jing interrupted and said, "Lu Qin, I will find a way to pay you back the money I owe you as soon as possible." Her expression was very determined, the kind that would not be happy until she got it back. Wang Hui's face turned red. "Sister, let's pay it back together." Lu Qin thought about it and said, "If you want to pay me back as soon as possible, I have a way." Wang Jing opened her eyes wide. "What way?" Lu Qin smiled and said, "Come to my studio. I will give you a base salary of 10,000 yuan plus performance rewards. It will be paid back soon." Wang Jing graduated from the composition department of Beijing Conservatory of Music and has some work experience. All the arrangements of the album, You Who Sat Next to Me, were basically done by her. Her talent and strength are quite excellent. Lu Qin always felt that she was buried in Nirvana Studios. In the past, Lu Qin had no idea of poaching at all, but now Nirvana Studios is a thing of the past. "Ah," Wang Jing whispered. She didn't expect Lu Qin to invite her to work in his studio. Lu Qin turned his head and said to Wang Hui, "How about you and the Nirvana band come and help me? The treatment will be good, and I can build you another recording studio, a real professional recording studio." He has long had the idea of forming his own band and building a recording studio. Although outsourcing saves money and trouble, after all, he can't complete his own music ideas at will on other people's territory. In fact, it's a matter of money. It costs at least millions to build a professional recording studio, which ordinary small companies can't afford. But for the current Lu Qin, it's really not a problem. His proposal now is tantamount to merging all the people of Nirvana Studios. Wang Hui was overjoyed. Lu Qin, do you really want to invite us? Lu Qin said with a smile, of course it's true, and to build a recording studio, I will give you a 5 million equipment budget. Wang Hui's saliva came down. 5 million equipment budget. He is a typical technical geek and has an obsession with audio-electronic equipment that others can't understand. The 5 million equipment budget is enough for him to build a studio of his dreams. It should be known that the equipment budget does not include the cost of the studio decoration, which is also an amazing expense. Lu Qin asked the other 3 members of the Nirvana band, what do you think? The 3 looked at each other and then looked at Wang Jing. Wang Jing bit her lip and didn't speak. She knows very well that for Nirvana Studios and the Nirvana band, joining Lu Qin's studio is the best result. Everyone doesn't have to disband and look for a new job, and they don't have to worry about maintaining their lives. If Lu Qin was just a small role in the entertainment circle half a year ago, then he has gradually grown into a towering tree and is someone who can really be relied on. Lu Qin said that he will give Wang Hui a 5 million equipment budget, which is certainly not a discount. He has such strength. The eyes of the 3 members of the Nirvana band are all willing, but they respect Wang Jing's wishes. After a moment of silence, Wang Jing sighed secretly in her heart and nodded with a smile. Hooray! Wang Hui was the first to shout. The haze on the faces of the Nirvana band members was swept away and they were all very excited. If possible, they don't want to be separated. Now the way out is really great. Lu Qin said, I should have gone to see Uncle Wang, but now I have a work that needs to be arranged. It will be performed live tomorrow night, accompanied by a live band. Can you help me? He stared at Wang Jing, who nodded again. Wang Hui has an opinion, Brother Lu Qin, but most of our instruments are also locked. Several members of the Nirvana band smiled bitterly. They could only bring out 2 guitars and a bass. They were all personal equipment that they had bought before. The Nirvana band has a total of 4 members, lead singer/guitarist Wang Jing, bassist Ouyang He, keyboardist Wen Yuan and drummer Yang Xiaoyi. They are all around 23 or 24 years old, which is a very young team. But the professional level of this band is good, and they have done a very good job of accompanying Lu Qin's works before. Otherwise, Lu Qin would not have invited them to join him with great sincerity. In fact, it is a matter of course for a singer-songwriter like him to form a band, and a live band and an accompaniment are 2 completely different things, giving the audience a completely different feeling. With Lu Qin's current status and fame in the circle, it is not a problem to recruit a stronger lineup than the Nirvana band, but stronger is not necessarily better. And the Nirvana band is young enough and has unlimited growth potential. He smiled and said, it's simple. We'll go buy it now and buy whatever we lack. Now no one has anything to say. With limited time, Lu Qin acted quickly. He asked Wang Hui to report to his studio first, and then drove the Nirvana band to buy musical instruments and equipment, choose what you need. With Lu Qin's backing, it didn't take too much time to buy musical instruments. Including Wang Jing, the members of the Nirvana band picked out their favorite equipment. Lu Qin also asked his sister to rent a temporary business car to facilitate the moving of musical instruments and personnel. That night, he and Wang Jing completed the arrangement of the new work together. Time is too tight to do it very carefully, but there is no problem in dealing with tomorrow's endorsement event. February 14th, Valentine's Day, the members of the reformed and renamed New Nirvana band, no one cared about this romantic holiday. Everyone began to rehearse Lu Qin's new song. New team, new members, new works and new instruments, but the first cooperation went surprisingly smoothly. At 3 p.m., the Nirvana band set off for the scene. Chapter 292. Lovers are happiest. Happy Valentine's Day. Among the festivals spread from abroad to China, Christmas and Valentine's Day are undoubtedly the most accepted by young people. Of course, this is due to the vigorous advocacy of businesses. After their long-term and unremitting efforts, Valentine's Day has been rendered into a romantic day, and they have happily harvested the money in the wallets of men and women. Therefore, shopping malls and entertainment venues in the city are particularly rich in activities on Valentine's Day. Many brands use this special day to promote and market. Senki's flagship store in Beijing was chosen to open on February 14th. This newly rising clothing brand is ambitious and very willing to invest in advertising. Some time ago, they signed an endorsement contract with Lu Chen with a value of up to 1 million yuan. This time, the opening of the flagship store naturally includes Lu Chen. The address of Senki's flagship store is located on the east side of People's Square, which is a prime location within the second ring road of Beijing. Because Valentine's Day coincided with Sunday, and many companies and units had not yet opened for business, there were a lot of people in People's Square. Most of them were couples, and from time to time, little girls selling roses shuttled among them. It was a bustling and noisy scene. On the huge LED screen on the east side of the square, Senki's Valentine's Day advertisement has been displayed, as well as a performance notice. The stage of the opening ceremony was set up near the advertising screen, only a few dozen steps away from Senki's flagship store with a rainbow arch. Many staff members have been busy setting up speakers, curtains, flower baskets, and so on. Although there were still a few hours before the official start of the opening ceremony, many audiences have appeared around the stage, asking the staff about something. They are basically Lu Chen's fans. Senki's publicity offensive has been launched early. The LED screen in the square has the name of the male lead of Autumn in My Heart, and it has also crowned Lu Chen with the title of Prince of Music. His stills in the TV series can be seen clearly from a long distance. Taking advantage of the popularity of Autumn in My Heart, Senki, who has been endorsed by Lu Chen, has earned a wave of popularity. This time, the opening of the flagship store has been publicized with this golden signboard. Of course, they also have to pay Lu Chen additional advertising fees. But his peers in the industry were already envious to death. He got Lu Chen's endorsement for a year with a mere million. For Senki, it was a huge profit. Now, Lu Chen's net worth from endorsements was at least 4 or 5 million. If an artist really became popular, the fees for endorsements would skyrocket. Wang Jing stood on the stage, helping her partner put the drums, keyboards, and other new equipment in place. There was still a surreal feeling in her heart. Before the new year, when Wang Jing heard from her father, who seemed to have aged more than 10 years, that she had been cheated, she felt as if she had been struck by lightning. The pain in her heart was really indescribable. She couldn't blame her father for worrying about the studio. She could only resent the shamelessness of the liar. As a result, when it rains, it pours. Extreme guilt and sadness crushed Wang Chongqing, causing him to fall ill. Nirvana Studios was completely over, and the family didn't even have the money to treat Wang Chongqing's illness. In desperation, Wang Jing asked Lu Chen for help. After the new year, creditors came to the door, Nirvana Studios was powerless to recover, and the Nirvana band faced the situation of disbandment. No matter how reluctant Wang Jing was, she couldn't change this fact. However, Lu Chen appeared. Yesterday morning, she, her brother, and her friends were like stray dogs. Today, they appeared on the stage and will perform for countless audiences. They no longer need to worry about their future and fate. Next month, they will also participate in the 72H Music Festival. It was like Nirvana rebirth. Nirvana was changed to Nirvana. The meaning and pronunciation have not changed, but it is a new beginning. Wang Jing took a deep breath and secretly told herself to work hard. She can't let down Lu Chen's trust and help, At the same time, she also hid the thoughts buried deep in her heart in a deeper corner, letting time wear them away. "Sister, come here and help me take a look." Wang Hui's call woke Wang Jing up, and she immediately walked in the direction of her brother. Her footsteps were light. The pace of time was equally light, and in the blink of an eye, it was sunset and dusk. The sky gradually darkened, and the street lamps arranged in the People's Square and the lights on the stage were lit up. More and more people appeared in the square. They were attracted by the scene here and slowly gathered around. In the middle of the crowd, there were many young men and women holding fluorescent signs. The signs showed the words, Lu Chen, Chen Chen, and so on. The red and green signs were particularly eye-catching. Autumn in My Heart has gathered a lot of popularity for Lu Chen. His current number of fans on Wave's blog has exceeded 15 million. The opening event of Senki flagship store tonight was announced in advance on the blog, so it attracted many real fans to cheer. The security personnel at the scene isolated them outside the safety line in time. Since the Hangzhou incident, now there are celebrity endorsements, and the security forces have been strengthened a lot. At this moment, Lu Chen was in the lobby of the Senki flagship store, which had not yet opened, holding his mobile phone and interacting with Qin Fei through QQ. It's Valentine's Day, but the two lovers can't spend this sweet festival together. It's a pity, but it's completely normal in the entertainment industry. Many star artists often don't fall in love in their career, not only because they are afraid of affecting their popularity, but also because their emotional life and work are too easy to conflict, and not many partners can last long. Qin Fei also has a very important endorsement event today, and her place is only 2 streets away from the People's Square. After a few words, Lu Chen told Qin Fei about his recruitment to form the Nirvana band. There's also the preparation of a recording studio. Qin Fei was very happy and said that she wouldn't have to go to others to record songs in the future, and that she could complete all the work here at Lu Chen's place. She said, "If you want to do it well. I'll join in." Lu Chen smiled and said, "Okay, I'll be the boss, and you'll be the lady boss." Qin Fei returned a smile and a sweet kiss. She said, "I'm so bored here. I really want to go and see you at the scene." Lu Chen looked at it and asked tentatively, "Why don't we meet again after it's over?" Qin Fei returned a helpless expression, "Believe it or not, there will be a bunch of paparazzi following me." Lu Chen thought about that picture and was really a little drunk. "Okay." Qin Fei gave another sweet kiss, "I'll make it up to you later." The two were intimate for more than half an hour, and the opening ceremony of Senki flagship store finally began. Chapter 293. People's Square was located in a superior location, surrounded by bustling commercial areas. Usually, except for the bad weather of wind and rain, there were many citizens who came for a walk at night. Today was Valentine's Day, and the couples in the streets and alleys were dazzling. People's Square naturally became a good place for lovers. After a warm and romantic dinner, they would go out for a walk, which made the people gathering here more and more vigorous. The opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store naturally attracted the attention of a large number of passers-by. In particular, the video content in the nearby large LED billboard made many young men and women excited, and they gathered around to watch the fun. The national average ratings of Autumn in My Heart of more than 2% made this TV series a phenomenal existence with countless fans. Knowing that the hero was about to appear here, even non-fans wanted to watch the fun. The time advanced to 6:30, and the opening ceremony officially began. As usual, the host went on stage first and said a lot of words, and then quickly entered the model show segment. Handsome men and beautiful women in couples' clothes walked on the stage, showing the new spring clothes of Senki brand. The crowd of onlookers was getting denser and denser. Many fans held up fluorescent signs and shouted the name of Lu Chen. They didn't come to see the opening of the flagship store, nor did they like the model show. They came for Lu Qin. The most important thing was that there was the finale of Autumn in My Heart tonight. Even if the broadcast time was wisely delayed by hygiene satellite TV to 9:30, everyone hoped that after watching Lu Qin live, they could go home early to watch the live broadcast on TV or on the internet. The cheers were getting stronger and stronger, and the host, who came on stage again after the show, couldn't resist it. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, the host on the scene had a quick wit. He laughed and said loudly, "It seems that everyone likes Mr. Lu Qin, the spokesperson of our Senki, very much. Well, let's count down together to welcome him to perform for us on the stage. What do you think?" "Okay." Screams rose and fell one after another, and many female fans jumped up and shouted excitedly. The host said, "Then I'll start counting down, 10, 9, 8. There was no such segment in the original arrangement of the ceremony. Lu Qin would only appear in half an hour, but no one could say that there was anything wrong with the host's decision. Instead, they had to praise him for his quick-wittedness. The organizers still underestimated Lu Qin's popularity and influence. The crowd gathered around the stage was so dense that there was no end in sight. Hundreds of waving fluorescent signs were enough to show the number of his fans. Lu Qin's studio had never hired professional fans. These fans were the real hardcore fans. If they delayed any longer and caused chaos, the organizers would have to bear the consequences. Now that the countdown began, the fans immediately calmed down. They followed the host and shouted, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The spotlight instantly shone on the stairs leading to the stage, and Lu Qin walked up with a smile on his face. He was at the back of the temporary stage, and he was just making an early appearance. As soon as he appeared, the fans at the scene immediately shouted and screamed excitedly, "Lu Qin, I love you." There was also someone who called Juanxi, which was a blue fan. Lu Qin wore a set of custom-made casual clothes and sneakers from Senki today. He looked not only handsome but also full of vitality while holding a guitar. Coupled with a hearty smile and a free and easy pace, he instantly fascinated a large number of female fans. "Aw, aw, aw. It's so handsome. Big Lu Qin has always been so handsome, but today he is especially handsome. On Valentine's Day, Big Lu Qin is also single. Single is glorious, long live single. I really want to go to the scene, but the capital is too far away. I'm at the scene. There are too many people in the People's Square. I don't know what song Lu Qin will sing tonight." Lu Qin's endorsement event at the opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store was also broadcast live on Whale TV. He has long been the #1 anchor in this live broadcasting platform. Although the time of the live broadcast was big, and most of them were not live anchors, his popularity has always been maintained in a very high position. On the evening of Valentine's Day, the number of online users in Lu Qin's live broadcast room exceeded 2 million. Even if it was announced in advance, people still have to sigh at the strength of the single dog group. Li Feiyu was still in charge of the live broadcast, but the equipment for the live broadcast had long been upgraded. It was equipped with a professional recording system, coupled with the high-speed 4G Plus network, so that the fans sitting in front of the computer could see the clearest picture. They saw Lu Qin standing in front of the microphone and said with a smile, "Good evening, everyone, I'm Lu Qin." After that, he bowed deeply to the audience. The screams at the scene instantly rose a lot, almost breaking through the sky. Straightening up, Lu Qin continued, "Today is a very special day. Seeing all of you loving each other, I really feel that I have suffered a ton of damage. You are so cruel." He deliberately showed an exaggerated sad expression. The same picture was not only transmitted to the network space in real time, but also synchronized on the giant LED screen in People's Square, so that thousands of people present could see Lu Qin and hear his voice. For the opening ceremony of this flagship store, Senki spent a lot of money, and the effect on the scene was really good. Laughter and applause sounded at the same time. Although they knew that Lu Qin was joking, the couples present still had a feeling of schadenfreude. Ah, a big star is also a single dog. Lu Qin said with a smile, originally, I wanted to sing a single love song for all single people, including myself, but I didn't expect there to be so many couples present, so the minority obeys the majority. The first song is a new song, which I wrote especially for you. The sound of applause exploded in an instant. Who knew Lu Qin and didn't know his talent in music creation? Being able to hear his new work was undoubtedly the biggest surprise tonight, and the fans were really happy. Especially recently, Lu Qin has been busy shooting TV series and has not produced any works. Lu Qin leaned over and said, in addition, would also like to recommend a band to you here. Its name is Nirvana, the Nirvana of Phoenix Nirvana, and it is also my personal live band. First of all, I would like to introduce the guitarist of the Nirvana band, Wang Jing. The Nirvana band has been on the stage for a long time. The accompaniment music for the previous model show was played by them. Everyone did not expect that this team was actually Lu Qin's personal band, and they all applauded warmly. Wang Jing, whose name was called, quickly got up and bowed to the audience to thank them, and the camera's lens swept over. Wow! Beautiful guitarist. Wang Jing. This name feels familiar. Yes, I also have an impression. Let me tell you, Wang Jing is the arranger of the album, You Who Sat Next to Me. I remember it very clearly. Handsome. Big Lu Qin finally has a band. Reward and support. Oh, it's a pity that I didn't go to the scene. Compared with the scene in the People's Square, the atmosphere in the live broadcast room is really much more lively and noisy. The quality of a live band is much higher than that of an accompaniment. Having a personal band is also a symbol of a singer's strength and status. Originally, many people were worried that Lu Qin would not focus on movies and TV series in the future, but now this worry has disappeared. Forming a band will certainly not give up music. For a time, the fish balls in the live broadcast room were like rain, and aircraft carriers passed by one after another. Bass player Ouyang He. Keyboardist Wen Yuan. Drummer Yang Xiaoyi. Lu Qin introduced the members of the Nirvana band to everyone one by one. This is the first appearance of the new Nirvana band in the public, and of course, it will not be the last. If there is no accident, this band will accompany his music career. Being cheered by thousands of people, Ouyang He and others showed an excited look. After introducing the Nirvana band, Lu Qin put down his guitar and said, now I'll give you a few numbers. Would you please help me shout them out? Thank you. He opened his hands and 10 fingers forward, only his left thumb bent against the palm of his hand. How many is this? Many of the audience didn't respond and were stunned, but some fans immediately shouted, 9. Lu Qin smiled, his left hand remained motionless, and he retracted his right hand. At this time, everyone shouted in unison, 4. Then Lu Qin retracted his left hand, raised his right hand again, and stretched out his index and middle fingers. 2. The next moment, he retracted his middle finger, raised his right hand high, and pointed his index finger to the sky. 1. Lu Qin nodded and said, yes, now please read these 4 numbers together. 9421. The smart people reacted instantly, I love you. Everyone came to a sudden realization and shouted, yes, I love you. Lu Qin said with a smile, the name of the following new song is, I Love You. I hope you like it. As soon as his voice fell, the Nirvana band played the prelude. All the applause, laughter, cheers, and shouts quickly subsided, and everyone stared intently at Lu Qin standing on the stage, listening to his new song. Only the fluorescent card was still swaying, drawing a residual light in the crowd. I've always wanted to say to you that you give me unexpected happiness, like an oasis to a desert. Say that you will accompany me forever, be my root, my wings, let me fly and have a nest to go back to. I'm willing, I can give everything, and I won't regret it. Just be together, watch the passage of time, remember the way we love each other. I love you, there's sadness and happiness. With you, there's meaning. I love you, sweet and reassuring, that feeling is you. Note, I love you, lyrics, doll/composer, Tao Zhao. Chapter 294. Lu Chen's previous works are mostly folk songs and light rock songs, focusing on nostalgia and hot blood. But he will not finalize his style. This year, he will develop towards a wider range of genres. The first choice, Just Love You, which was launched on Valentine's Day, is a typical love song. In pop music, love songs have the largest audience and are one of the most popular types. Over the past few decades, countless classics have been born at home and abroad, and there has never been a decline. Because love is one of the most beautiful emotions of human beings. This song, Just Loving You, has a beautiful melody, the lyrics are catchy, and there are not too many complicated ways of expression. Lu Chen sings it slowly, soothing and affectionate like a lover's whisper, making people who listen to it feel sweet in their hearts. I have always wanted to say to you, you give me unexpected happiness, like an oasis to a desert. Say, you will always be with me, be my root, my wings, let me fly, and have a nest to go back to. I am willing, really willing, to give everything, to protect you. Oh, together. Time continues to pass. Please remember how much I love you. Oh, love you, never abandon you. Don't care how much wind and rain there are along the way. Just love you, put it in your palm. Give you all the brilliant happiness. Oh, love you, I am willing, just love you, want us to be together. At this moment, the couples in the People's Square looked and listened, all smiling. They snuggled up to each other, feeling each other's temperature in this cold night, and reminiscing the bits and pieces of love in Lu Chen's singing. Time passes, time is ruthless, or one day in the future, feelings will be worn away by time, and lovers will go their separate ways, but I believe that no one will forget the beauty and touching they have experienced in such a night in the crowded crowd. Just love you, want us to be together. This is the best blessing for Valentine's Day. When Lu Chen finished singing Just Love You affectionately, the whole audience applauded, especially the couples clapped desperately. Lu Chen put down his guitar and bowed with the Nirvana band to thank them. Thank you, everyone. May all the lovers in the world get married. The applause became even louder. Suddenly, there was a small commotion below the stage. Soon, a little girl in a white gauze dress walked up to Lu Chen with a bouquet of roses in her hand. The little girl was at most 5 or 6 years old. She was as cute as a doll. She tried her best to stand on her tiptoes to present flowers to Lu Chen. Lu Chen was pleasantly surprised. He quickly squatted down and took the flowers. Thank you. May I know your name? He remembered that the ceremony in the evening did not have a flower delivery segment, so it should be an accident. The little girl said in a childish voice, My name is Yaya. Brother Lu Chen, Happy Valentine's Day. Lu Chen sighed and said, Brother Lu Chen doesn't have a lover yet. What should I do? The little girl frowned and thought for a while, then said happily, Then I'll give Yaya's sister to you. She's very greedy and always steals my things. The audience roared with laughter. The little girl was too cute. Lu Chen smiled and reached out to hug the little girl, then took her off the stage. Of course, the little girl had a family, and it was a big family. She had several sisters. Back in front of the microphone, Lu Chen said with a smile, Thank you, Yaya. Thank you for the flowers, and my sister. Everyone couldn't help laughing again. Lu Chin continued, for the second song, I want to invite an audience member to the stage and let her sing with me. I think you should be familiar with this song. It is, Your Eyes. Without waiting for Lu Chin to say the name of the song, the fans under the stage helped him make up for it. Your Eyes was the theme song of Autumn in My Heart. It was a love song sung by Lu Chin and Chen Fei. With the rising ratings of Autumn in My Heart, the song had become a well-known pop song and had become a must-listen for many couples when they went to KTV. Lu Chin nodded and said, yes, it's Your Eyes. Who would like to sing with me on the stage? As soon as his voice fell, the audience below the stage raised their arms in unison. Many girls even jumped up and shouted excitedly, me, me. Lu Chin smiled and said, so many people want to sing. Then I'll choose one. I'll choose you. He pointed to the audience below the stage and said, it's the audience member in the red down jacket. Thank you. The girl who was pointed out by Lu Chin had a look of surprise on her face. The other fans around her cast envious eyes on her, and at the same time, made way for her. Hello, what's your name? Lu Chin asked the girl who had just come on the stage in a friendly manner. She was about 20 years old and had a delicate appearance. The girl blushed and said, my name is Lin Yu. I'm your fan. In the evening, she went out to play with her classmates. When she passed by the People's Square and saw the advertisement screen, she knew that Lu Chin was going to perform here, so she stayed to watch the live show. She didn't expect to be chosen by Lu Chin to sing a love song on the stage. It's just like a dream. Lu Chin said with a smile, then let's sing Your Eyes together. The music sounded again. Your Eyes is a work that everyone is familiar with. The difficulty of singing this song is not low, but the performance of the girl named Lin Yu is quite excellent. Apart from being a little flustered at the beginning and not being able to keep up with the rhythm, her singing later is remarkable, and she cooperates quite well with Lu Chin. There are too many tears that don't stop. I love you every step of the hardships of love. The dreams of suffering are especially sincere. After a love song was sung, the audience still responded with warm applause. Thank you, Lin Yu. Lu Chin sent the female fan off the stage, and the staff gave her a beautiful gift. After singing 2 songs, Lu Chin's performance time was over. In the evening, it was the opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store, not his personal music live. There were still many programs behind. So he and Nirvana said goodbye to everyone. At this time, the fans at the scene did not agree. No one knew who started it, but everyone shouted together, sing one more song. Again. Their shouts quickly formed a huge sound wave, surging in the People's Square, washing away the coldness of the winter night and making people's blood surge. Lu Chin stood on the stage with his guitar in his arms, full of emotion and warmth. Although there was no lover to accompany him, Valentine's Day 2016 is worth commemorating for him. Because so many people like him and need him. You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.